Knicks family, what's popping? It's your boy. And Jay Ellis is in the building. I wanted to let me pass the mic over to Jay Ellis. We didn't quite figure out how we was gonna do that, but we here. Jay, what's popping with you, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear him. This is the KOT and BK
Jay, what's popping
matchup.
with you, man?
All see, look, we got echoes. This is the KOT and BK mashup. Maybe doing a crossover show.
Yeah. Yeah, we doing a crossover show, man. We trying to
Okay, echoes in the chat. What's up, chat?
echoes in the chat. We got echoes in the chat. We got things going on. We're trying to figure this out, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go. All right, everybody
Are we good? We good?
Good.
We good? All right. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead. We is everybody good?
We good.
Think so.
We good. So I'm gonna start it over because, like I always say, when I get into YouTube, I'm gonna edit it out. So I'm gonna start it over. All right. Knicks family, what's popping? It's your boy, and I'm gonna pass the mic to Jay Ellis.
It's Jay Ellis for the KOT show here with my guys doing a crossover show with our peoples at NBK. What's going on, Sim?
Yeah, I'm glad that we're able to do this. We got Ron, we got Tony Crow, we got Ebony, Lee, Ryan. You know, we got the whole crew here. Steph is gonna be in the building. And yeah, we might as well go ahead and get with it, right? And start with news from today. You know, we're gonna, talk about the season, give an outlook over the season. You know what I mean? So we got a lot of topics to get to, but we might as well get to news from today. Trade rumor reports out of Philadelphia. We'll just go with that there. Trade rumor reports out of Philadelphia. Of course, the Joel Embiid reports that, the Knicks had been willing to give up R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Evan Fournier, Mitchell Robinson, and 2 or 3 draft picks. Of course, it wouldn't be all 4 of those players, but a trio of those 4 players. What's your thoughts on it? I guess, Jay, I just, we start with you and we go around the board.
Listen, man, if you've been following KOT for a minute, you already know I am on board for bringing Joel Embiid to the Mecca. I really feel like if you start with the nucleus of Joel Embiid and Jalen Brunson, I know Ron agrees with me because he's been on the show talking about it too. I feel like you can really build something special with those two. Joel Embiid is giving you almost 30 a game. If you're looking at what Jalen Brunson is doing, Jalen Brunson's been averaging like 28 a game, 27 a game since January. Check the stats. It was 1 month. He was shooting 57% from the field. So people talking about, oh, well, we still need another all-star. Nah, Jalen Brunson is the other all-star. So I feel like with those two guys, some 3-and-D wings, 3-and-D rebounders, fill out the rest of the team with those guys, I think we're good to go. And it's funny because they said they only want 2 or 3 first-round picks. Usually teams try to fleece you for more. I feel like that might be a pipe dream, only giving up 2 first-round picks, considering what Utah's doing. So I feel like there will be some pushback when it comes to the price. But if you're gonna tell me I'm moving Randall and I'm gonna get MB back or RJ and get MB back, I'm pushing the button. I'm doing that deal.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll go Tony. Some thoughts on it?
Salute. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to this panel, all-star panel. Your Blackest Time. So I was in Bleacher Report. You know how I do. I be checking the temperature in different teams' chats and going through YouTube, looking at what the Philadelphia podcasters is talking about. And for the most part, they saying Knicks fans are delusional, and there's no way they want Randall, and conversations have to start with Brunson. The fact that it's an inner division rivalry. I've been on record. I don't know if they'll do it. If Philly will even be interested in trying to move him within the same division. But if we can make it happen, I'm all for it. So I think it's a pipe dream. But if we can make it happen, I agree with Ellis. It's going to take more than 2 picks. The offer is going to have to go up. Sim, you said 3 of those 4. I thought it was all of them. I thought it was all of them, which I thought was a little crazy. But the reports are they trying to include PJ Tucker as well, so maybe
Right.
maybe that changes things as far as the salaries.
Yeah. I mean, 'cause
But yeah, I do it. I do
if
it.
you if you did all four, that's like $85 million the Knicks are sending out. So now you're talking about a total roster swap almost. Because Joel
Yeah.
Embiid is like 45 million. So there's still $40 million you got to make up if you're talking all four of those players. I mean, that's a roster swap for real. You know,
It is.
yeah, that that's a lot. Ryan, what you thinking, man?
Um, well, of course I would welcome Embiid because Embiid, he's our MVP. I mean, whenever you get a chance to get a player like that into your team, I mean, you definitely have to take that risk. I think the main thing is the fact that it's interdivision. So with you knowing that it's going to be an interdivision trade, I do see Sixers asking for the house. In
Hmm.
order for the Knicks to get Embiid, and that's really the only thing that worries me about that trade. But if it's at a reasonable price, the Knicks have to go for it because the Knicks are reaching a point where the current roster setup, they're not a contending team. They're a team that can make the playoffs and make some noise in the playoffs, but that's about it. So sooner or later, the Knicks are going to have to take a risk on somebody to come into the team and take them to that next level, and Embiid can be that player.
Yeah. What if it was RJ and Randall?
I mean, if it's just RJ and Randall, I would do that in a heartbeat.
I still do it, man. I don't care.
Yeah, in a heartbeat, like no
It's
questions asked.
MB, man.
I
MVB.
know. I
Hey,
know.
some
MVB. You gotta do that, man.
somebody in the chat said Embiid and Harden,
I'm
and
not
let me.
mixing
Oh,
with
I'm
Hart.
good.
that's that's what I was.
Do it, bro.
That changed the opinion at any
Yeah.
point.
It
So
changes mine. I mean,
you
I'm,
say
I'm
no, Sim?
no, not with Harden. I can't mess with Harden. You got to leave Harden out of it. Let Harden got to go someplace else. I don't want him anywhere near
Yeah,
Madison Square Garden unless he's playing against the Knicks.
that's a fact. Not enough strip clubs in New York for Harden. Sorry.
Facts.
Going on for Harden out here.
Can't mess with him.
I
Leave.
mean that might be a asking price. You know, hey, you said 85 million. That brings that up to 75 for them, right?
I mean, it
Between
does. It
you know what I mean?
does.
So
It
we got
does.
so that might be the cost of doing business. Like, hey, we want to start completely all over. You know what I mean? So just just throwing it out.
I
What's
can't
going on,
mess.
Ron? I need to hear you, Ron. I know you got something to say.
I mean, I'm yeah, you threw the monkey wrench in there with this Harden stuff. I ain't trying to think about that dude. Yeah, I'm cool with the trade. If first off, I'm surprised. I don't think the Knicks would do that. I don't think the Knicks would trade all of those guys. They already said those are the type of guys that are available, but we're not giving you every. I don't think they've given up RJ and Randall in the same trade. It could happen. I just don't see it happening. So if it's a combination of those guys, 2 of the 3 or 3 of the 4, whatever it is, okay. And we keep one of those guys, I'm okay with that. Because either way, I think in the end, even if say we were to make the trade, right? And we got rid of RJ and we kept Randall and Embiid, like they're friends or whatever, they sketcher bros, they're trying to make it work. Even if the chemistry don't work there, we just let Randall walk. And we get somebody else, hopefully with that money. Hopefully, there's no guarantees because nobody comes to the Knicks. But so I don't know. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the trade though. I like Embiid.
Embiid and Brunson here, people will come. People will come. You already know Donovan Mitchell is trying to take the first train here smoking. People will come. Trust me.
I think Donovan Mitchell's trying to take the first train smoking no matter what. I don't care who would say. I think he wants to be in New York no matter what.
He might even take a deal to do it. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, but let me tell you something. I'm sorry, I just remembered this. If somehow say Philadelphia was like, look, we'll do the Embiid thing. We don't want to do it, but we'll do it. But you taking Harden? If they did say that, you taking Harden, guess what? I'm flipping Harden to the Cavaliers for Donovan Mitchell. If you can do that, I hope there's no moratorium
There's
on
no
like you have to
way.
hold on to the. I'll do it, J. Ellis. I'm flipping him straight over to Cleveland.
But
This
Cleveland-
man,
does
Harden
Cleveland
don't
want-
want to go to.
I don't think
It ain't up to him.
What are you doing?
That's true. That's true. It's not up to him. But would Cleveland even want to? I don't know. They even want to deal with. I wouldn't take the chance of trading for James Harden and then having to try to trade him again because you might get stuck.
I mean,
You know the games that James Harden plays, man.
I think you know that you can trade him to the Clippers. You just may not
That's
get
true.
the best return, but all the people in that return would be expiring. So at least you know you would be coming off them contracts.
Yeah, they gotta give us a pick for James Harden.
At least one. At least one. Like I wouldn't be greedy for two, but at least one.
Yeah. What's going on, Lee and Ebony? I haven't heard y'all yet. What I see Lee waiting patiently. I'm gonna have Ebony be clean up because I already know where you're going with it.
All right, what we go next? I would make that trade in a heartbeat, as currently offered on Twitter from the beat writer of I believe the Philadelphia Inquirer said it was 3 first-round picks and 3 of the 4 players that were mentioned.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be more than that. I think you're also going to look at maybe 1 or 2 swaps. If it was RJ and Randall, doesn't deter me at all, 100%. If there's another first-round pick, I'll toss that in too. Embiid is an MVP player for a reason. Statistically, one of the most dominant big men in the modern era, and he can get you 3 quarters, and that's all I need him for. The drawback to Embiid, I think, is he hasn't done much in the playoffs as a number 1 option to put a team on his back. Very fair criticism, but in New York, he wouldn't have to. Give me 30, 32 points in the first 3 quarters and let Brunson take this home. Brunson's a closer, proved that in the playoffs, proved that with the Mavs, proved that in college, proved that since high school. So you have Brunson as the finisher and Embiid as a guy who gets you there. 100% that duo under Tibbs is going to win multiple championships.
Okay. Shoo.
Right?
So let me just ask Lee real quick. So don't you want to see Brunson do it again though before you just be like, they definitely gonna win multiple championships? You don't want to see him do it again. You just know he's there.
The way that he did it is what impressed me the most. It was
Okay.
when and how. When was always the end of games. He wanted the ball in his hands, and that was a carryover from the last year in Dallas in the playoffs against Utah. And there's also a carryover from his time in Villanova, where he was a closer on that championship level team. He's extremely coachable. He's plug and play in any system. He doesn't have to have a certain kind of player around him or a certain kind of coach. He's just a dog, and he's gotten better every year. I still think he has a ceiling to be met, and that footwork ain't going nowhere. It don't matter who you put around him. He's still the best post-up footwork point guard or guard in the NBA right now.
Can I add to that? Can I add to that? Because I still feel like some people underestimated him. I do. Do you realize that Jalen Brunson put up 28 points in the playoffs with no spacing? We were the worst 3-point shooting team in the playoffs. He did that with no spacing and shot 47%.
Nah, no doubt about that.
And
Man,
He sent Donovan
Lee-
home 2 years in a row.
Lee said we'll
you
win
took Donovan
multiple.
Mitchell out 2 years in a row. How about
2 years in a row.
Lee said we'll win multiple championships, but even if we gave up,
Not 2.
even if we gave up 4 picks, I think we'd still be in position to make another move for another player.
Bingo.
It may not be, I mean, Donovan, but it may not be, the max guy, but
OG
We're-
or somebody.
exactly, we'll still be able to improve the team.
Yeah, because you still have all those protected firsts that you got. The 2 from OKC. There's like a Milwaukee, a Denver, a Detroit, and a Washington, I think. You would still have all of those and your swaps. So there's another move to be made after that as well.
in that scenario, we have our young pieces, which is I still feel like they're gonna try to swindle a young piece. I can't see it being that clean, but I see that. Ebony, let's go, Ebony. I already know. Let's go. Where you going with Ebony?
You already know. I'm not with the pen with this one. I don't like Troel. I'm sorry. I can't. I told y'all. I seen the podcast, and he admitted that he has a kryptonite to Shirley Temples, y'all. That's a sugary drink. Nah, I'm just saying. Also, to be serious though, I didn't like the way he handled the whole after they got eliminated, he kind of threw his team under the bus. And he did, and he didn't blame Harden. He played terribly, and he said him and Harden was doing all the work, and I didn't like that. And if that was in New York, y'all have killed them. Y'all would have killed.
No, you're right.
The media, everybody would have absolutely had a field day with him with that. I don't think the grass is always green on the other side. I'm sorry, I'm not sold on Joel, and he's had pretty good pieces in Philadelphia, and they're not going anywhere. So I'm not going to think that he's going to get to New York and be the super Joel. I'm and then to sell, in the same division, like we were saying, they're going to have to sell the farm to get him. They're not going to just give it to us. We're going to have to give up the picks, the youth, and some star power. It's going to happen. And then who we're going to have next to him. And then that second move is the move that I'm worried about, because that doesn't always happen. That's not 100% that somebody else comes and joins them. So I like my team right now. I like them a lot, actually. Just that whole committee, doing as committee. I don't want to star chase. I'm tired of wishing upon a star.
I get you there. I still, I mean, Joel Embiid is definitely, is an MVP candidate. He changes a lot. He changes a lot, right? He changes a lot, but I do like the fact that the Knicks have built what we have right now from the ground up, right? I really do. I definitely like that.
And with that is a little bit more room to for mistake. When you start heavy, you don't have that much room. Look at the Suns. Already they were nervous, like, oh, Bill out already. So we really don't have that too much. We have like backup plans when you think about it.
Can I ask the panel, that everybody who would do the trade, if the asking price was Brunson, but
No.
the overall cost was lower?
Nope.
To the no.
Because now we're back. Because now you're back looking for a point guard again. How many years?
Yeah, you can't.
Were we
can't
looking
do
for a
that.
point guard?
I mean, there is some people who feel like IQ could just step right in and start at that
Nope.
position. So that's where I was going.
No, not over Brunson.
But
Anyway,
it's a question. Just
I don't want to shoot it down right away, Tony, but nope. Look, no, because my biggest feeling. Look, I am not, and that's why I'm tripping a little bit. I see MBIC in the chat. He says we aren't winning with Brunson. Where'd that come from? What Brunson do to you? All he's done is won championships in college. Like what we doing here? But anyway, all right.
He said we're not winning with Brunson. This will be his second season.
He hasn't even had a chance to do anything really bad here. Like, give him a chance to mess things up first.
But I need to get in y'all chat so I can talk smack. Hold on a second.
What I'm thinking, what I'm thinking is the reason why you don't put Brunson in any trade for any other player you're trying to acquire is those players that we want, at least the ones that are on our radar, Cat, Embiid, Donovan Mitchell. All these guys have faults. We look at them like, can they win with the teams? They've been on this team. I'm thinking Brunson is the answer. Put those guys with Brunson, and there's the difference. In my opinion, that's what I think his value is. He adds to those guys. He's the piece that they're missing. I mean, of course, the team has to be right all in all, but you got to have a guy like a Brunson on your team with you. He can take you over the top.
Right.
Hey, I just posed the question. I put it in the Philly chat as well, because that's who was saying the trade has to start with. So I figured let me ask you guys, especially considering a lot of us was upset that Quickly didn't get extended. So it's not like we would be void of, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying Quickly is Brunson. I'm just saying it's not like we would be void of a point guard. So I threw it out there.
Let me ask this, I guess, before maybe we move on to next topic. Would you rather RJ or Randall go in that trade if it were to happen?
RJ.
I guess
RJ.
I don't want to see RJ go though.
I knew you wasn't.
It makes more sense for the skill sets. Man, we need 3-and-D, man. We need 3-and-D. And as good as RJ is, I just feel like his strengths kind of aren't a clean fit with us as much because we have Randall still operates in that same space, and we already know we're gonna get from Randall from game to game. So like, as much as I love RJ and his style, I just feel like the fit isn't as clean.
Yeah, see, I agree. I like RJ too, but I would rather RJ go. I think, you know, we were talking about you got to bring in another player. Well, if you trade RJ and you keep Randall, maybe you have 3 guys with Joel Embiid, Julius Randle, and Jalen Brunson, and you know you can try to rock with that for a while and see where it goes. With RJ, I think we're still not sure. I mean, we're still learning a lot about Randall, but he's made 2 All-NBAs and 2 All-Stars, so we know, we got some good intel about what he bring out there.
Yeah. We just need Randall to do it in the playoffs too.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was about to say that.
Right, right. And you'll have the Sketcher boys on the team.
Sketcher boys. The most comfortable feet in the NBA.
Sketches and Nova.
Yeah, Sketches and Wildcats.
Terrible twins on the team. Oh man.
And the other thing is just the thought. I mean, that to me could be interesting, man. Like just having Brunson obviously with Embiid is one thing, but think about the terror that Embiid and Randall could cause on the court together. I think that could be something.
Scary.
The funny thing is, in this same Philadelphia chat, they want no parts of Randall, and they actually, it's not like they're high on Barrett, but they're like, all right, I could work with Barrett. They like, I'm not sure if he'll be a star, but they like Barrett more than Randall as well.
It's the age.
Yeah,
It's
but
the
that's
age.
because
Which surprised me.
they're
They
looking
don't
at
wanna
it
get
that
too
one
close
way.
to that.
They're getting Randall instead of Embiid. But what
Right.
if Philly could get Randall and have Embiid? Then they'd be looking at it differently.
No,
I know.
They was responding to the reports just like we are. So they don't want any parts of Randall.
I know,
like,
but I'm saying, what
they're
if
like,
the trade? What if the trade was different? What if Embiid was staying, right? And
Mm.
somehow the Knicks were trading, like we were
For
trading
Randall.
Randall for Harden or something.
Okay,
Right.
that might change their perspective.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I
And
hear you
then-
though.
And then also, if they still have Tobias Harris, I mean, Tobias Harris can go 3 or 4, but at this stage, he might be playing more 4. Him and Randall would play in the same spaces, a lot of the same spaces where I guess Tobias and RJ might work a little bit better together. Maybe they're looking at it that way.
Yeah.
Every time I hear Tobias Harris' name, I think of Jimmy Butler. They picked Tobias over me.
Yeah.
I think of J. Cole.
I think of J. Cole, yeah.
Yo, but for me too, I would think if I'm the 76ers though, I think they would go for RJ over Randall just because just the thought of rebuilding. Like if you're a rebuilding team, you usually go
it makes
after
more
picks
sense.
and younger players.
Right.
So I feel like they would ask for RJ over Randall if they had to pick one.
And if they're tanking, RJ doesn't hurt your tank. Randall does. Randall's going to win you a bucket full of games. I don't know if RJ, even if he drops 35, is going to win you a game on his own if you're trying to tank. So it makes more sense to do RJ.
Yeah.
No slight, just being real.
That sounded really slighty.
It's playoffs.
Well, I mean, do you think there's a way that I see your point. I agree with you. Like I would think they would want RJ, the younger player, if they're trying to rebuild or whatever, just keep some fans in the seat by putting a product out there. But isn't there a chance that getting Randall now and then flipping him later before he's actually a free agent, you might be able to get more for his value than for RJ?
Randall's value is so tricky. It's really tricky because he's this guy who's like a top 7, top 8 power forward.
Nobody
And
believes
he's
it.
all NBA guy, but he's always on the bottom of all these freaking media lists.
True.
So
It's
you
weird.
don't. like, so even though he's good, he's gonna give you that 20, 10, and maybe even 5 if he's the leading guy. His trade value is an enigma to me. It really is.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel like maybe around the league or beat writers, whoever, that if he wasn't playing for the Knicks, he might not be this Julius Randle.
They
Right.
don't believe it.
They,
Yeah.
they don't believe it. That's what I think. They might not believe it. If they might not believe he's really a second guy on a championship level team.
He's not.
You know what I mean? So, they his value was kind of weird, even though he's all NBA twice, All-Star twice. It's a little bit, it's kind of weird, his value.
It's true.
I agree. And if you do well in the playoffs this season, it might change it, but it's still weird.
right.
I just feel like the problem with him too is like whenever Randall plays bigger players than him, that's when he has issues. Like I feel like he dominates people who he can impose his will over. He's just much bigger than. But when you play against guys like Bam or Anthony Davis or like guys who can match your physicality or taller than you, like he always struggles. He doesn't have that all that skill, that scoring skill.
But I feel like that's because he doesn't get to play one-on-one. I feel like there's always help with him, especially in the post. So if he's going against guys bigger than him, just one-on-one, I'm confident in what Randall could do.
That's not what Bam said.
I mean, Bam had help.
You mean like double teams and stuff? You saying
Yeah.
that? I think one of the issues I find with Randall is like compared to us, his arms is going to be long, but compared to another 6'8" player, I think he's got short arms, right? And like you see a lot when he goes up, he never fully extends to the basket. He does a lot of double pumping. I think it's because like he doesn't have like length like Cam Reddish is like long, right? 6'8", long arms, like that. Randall is, not more stocky, shorter and stocky, for that height.
Yeah.
So I think he does have some trouble scoring over top of bigger people, taller people. He's got to fade away or shoot, 8 threes or something like that.
I agree.
Yeah. Steph.
I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ebony. Then we can get
No,
Steph.
go Steph. How you doing?
Hey, Steph in the building. The Queen STEPH in command.
I'm good. Look at this all-star cast. I'm super excited to be here. Jake Ellis, one of the originals when I started watching YouTube content creators. So I appreciate everybody on the panel.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Doing good stuff, Steph. I see you.
Yeah. Steph, what do you think about the Joel Embiid trade rumors of what the Knicks, I guess, offered out there or would be willing to offer?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just start by saying Embiid would not be my first choice. Like, I want the best player on my team to be a guard or a wing who can operate in space and get their own shot, particularly in the playoffs when you can be crowded as a power forward and a center, even though he can hit the three, even though he can operate in the mid-range. He's not somebody you're going to just give the ball to on the wing and be like, make it happen. So he wouldn't be my first choice. But that's what you're going to give up for a player like Embiid. There's just no way around it. Any superstar, that's what you're giving up. And I think what we have to come to terms with is when we get that superstar, we're going to be a year or two away because we're going to have to give up a lot to get him, whoever it is. And then it's going to take us a year or two to kind of restock the team. I don't know if we're going to be ready right that year when we make this trade for a superstar, particularly for Embiid. If Randall is going, RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson, what are we going to have? I mean, the players we have left are not that experienced, right? So we're going to have to take some time to rebuild that roster and make it a championship team.
You know what? I think if you're of the belief that Jalen Brunson is that dude, you're not scared. And I think if you have some type of doubt that he isn't that dude, then you're like kind of worry about it. But for me, I feel like Jalen Brunson is that dude. So
I think he is
Nah,
too. But
I
I'm
do
scared of
too.
the injury.
Yeah.
Brunson and Embiid is not going to be enough, though, is what I'm saying. You're still going to have to build that roster. You're still going to have to build that roster up. And I agree with you. I think Brunson is that dude.
yeah, you're gonna have like I feel like once you got to me, like I said, listen, Jalen Brunson last year, top 5 clutch players in the NBA.
No doubt.
Check the stats. That's what he is. Dropped 28 points a game in the playoffs with the worst spacing in the NBA, with the worst 3-point shooting team in the NBA. He did that. Jalen Brunson. All I'm saying is get 3 ND guys around those guys. I feel like you got something. 3 ND guys and somebody else who can play make, like a scorer off the bench. I feel like Jalen Brunson.
You don't think we would? So how, with what we have left, you think we would be in contention that year, or
Yes.
with what we have left, or you think we would need to go out and
look at what Philly has. Like when Embiid is there, they're in winning 50 games a season.
Yep.
And look at what's happening in the playoffs. Embiid, like what Lee said, Embiid has done good for 3 quarters. He's done good for 3 quarters. In that 4th quarter, we can go to Brunson. And I feel like even though Embiid might implode sometimes in the playoffs, I feel like he's more of a threat than anybody else we have on this roster.
No.
Where I feel like it'll take us over the hump. That's me personally.
We're gonna have Grimes left. I just think we're gonna need some work. That's all I'm saying. We're gonna need a little work. I'm not saying it's not possible, but they're gonna have to bring in some. I don't think who's left is gonna be enough. I think they're gonna have to go out and get some more. But they can. How did Phoenix do it? Phoenix got more than 2 max. How are the Lakers doing it? Right? So it's possible. They just have to figure it out.
But Steph, if he came in and Randall was still here, it was him, Randall, and Brunson. Because those reports is just 3 of those guys, not all 4 of those guys, just 3 of them, right? So, it would probably be either Randall or RJ that goes.
Right.
And then Evan Fournier, Mitchell Robinson, and then the draft picks, but not all 4 of them.
Yeah, I don't see Randall and Embiid as a good fit, though.
Think it's too clunky?
I think it's too clunky.
And do you?
I don't know. I think
if you could choose, you prefer RJ and Embiid.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, if you put,
I just think that
I'm just not sure about.
I would
RJ
want the
being-
better player. Randall is the better player. I just don't think they operate this pretty much the same. The low
But do
post,
they,
the
though?
mid-post.
Yeah, but that opens the floor, the spacing for Randall. Like part of my problem with Randall is Mitchell Robinson's man is always in the paint. So he doesn't have a clear path, even if he beats his guy. I think he could beat his guy, whether it's a big, a small, whoever's guarded, he could beat him, but that paint is never open. So I think Embiid actually changes that dynamic.
Well, Embiid doesn't live in the 3-point line. I mean, he can go out there and shoot it, and he can shoot the mid-range, but that's not where he's living, though.
But you have the option. Like when Embiid's in the paint, Randall could be outside. When Randall's trying to get to the paint, Embiid can give him some space. That's what I'm saying.
See that
it don't got to be like all the time.
Right.
I don't think Randall really wants to be in the paint. To me, he
That's
plays
why I
like
think
a
Embiid works.
a big small forward to me. A big guard. He doesn't really. He hasn't really played bully ball Randall in a long time. I see him as another guard half the time. He just lives on that wing.
Yeah, Tony was a little mad at his response on that video, the other day when he said he'd rather shoot a 3 than get a big monster dunk.
Because he got short arms.
You can tell. I could have told you. You could tell. You could tell he's not trying to bully ball bang no more. So it ain't all on me.
But you heard RJ's response. He didn't just say a dunk. He's like dunk on somebody. You know what I mean? So that, to me, like that's what I wanted to hear.
But that makes sense because Randall is different. Like he shoots a lot more shots from outside now. He's getting used to that style of play. And over the years, maybe it was the injury that he suffered, his rookie season. But with time, his hops ain't the same the way they were.
It's not the same.
Randall had some
agree.
bunnies, man.
Yeah.
Randall was getting up.
Yeah, we needed Bully Ball in that Heat series. We definitely did. We needed him to play that type. We needed that Randall.
Yeah, I do feel like just from some of the things that I've seen in the preseason, like he's worked on his footwork a little bit, I think, and I think we're gonna see him trying to utilize that footwork. I seen a couple of times when he was. As a matter of fact, I think his first score of the preseason, he was on the baseline and he faked one way, pump fake, and it did like an up and under.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, that's a nice move. So, he is working on his footwork to be able to, maybe be a little bit more crafty. Maybe he knows he don't got them. I don't know if he never had like the super Obi type of
right.
bunnies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he could jump, so maybe he's working on, being a little bit more crafty.
The funny thing is, I think the past 2 years we've seen him dunk on people and dunk more aggressively than we did in the first two.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
He did. That's true. That's true. Do
Yeah.
you think we would need if we had Joel Embiid and Julius Randle? Do we need a new coach?
Yeah, I think we need one that's gonna hold some people accountable. If he gonna hold them accountable, I'm cool. But if not, then we could get somebody in here because we can't have no accountability and Troel blaming people.
Yeah.
Well, I think Knicks PR as a whole will be on top of that. Like we kind of been good with preparing our players on what to say and what not to say, and not, you know what I mean. So
that's for sure.
They may nip that in the bud early.
Yeah, no doubt.
No, I would be cool with Tom Thibodeau. I think you get rid of a coach when they underachieve. So I'm not gonna get rid of the coach when you finally bring in a star player. Let's see what he can do. Then if he underachieves and he has a roster, that's good enough to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and get to the finals, that's a different story.
Hey, you can make the argument that Tibbs has always overachieved.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him getting anything out. At least during the regular season, I'm not worried about. We'll see what happens.
And I think Embiid would love Thibodeau. I think all-star Thibodeau works well with star players. I think all-star players would love Thibodeau. The only one who didn't, because he was too young and too mentally he wasn't right yet, was Cat. Right. But I think Cat now realizes, I was doing some things when Thibodeau was here. So
little kitty cat.
I'm good on cats.
Yeah. Kitty cat.
These cats the only cat I'm cool with right now.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh man, we got the Cat brothers here. Tony's cat just hasn't reared his head yet. It'll be here soon.
I hope Tony's cat and Lee's cat don't see each other on the screen.
Might have something happening here.
It's gonna be on site.
Word. All right. Well, I guess let's get to some season stuff, and we start off with Knicks players to watch. Like which players should we really be watching this season? Who do you got your eye on? Ron, I'll start with you, Ron, and then from there we can just pick up with whoever jumps in.
Yeah. Well, maybe this time around, shoot it over to like Ryan or Lee, because the chat is clamoring to hear what Lee and Ryan got to say, especially Josh, aka Uncle Julio.
Main nemesis.
Oh man. So Knick players to watch. I'm watching them all, Sim. That's I'm a Knick fan. I'm really paying attention. No, I think for me, it comes down to the same three guys for me. It's Quickly, it's Grimes, and it's RJ. I'm watching those three guys because I've already seen what the other guys can do when we need them. I'm not worried about Dante. He's new here. RJ's got to play consistent. Grimes got to step up his game. And Quickly just needs to get off to a good start. Quickly's one of those guys, even when he struggles, I thought he was going to have a horrible season last year. You look at the numbers at the end of the season, Quickly was balling. So I'm not worried about Quickly. I just want Grimes to take that next step, Quickly to get off to a hot start, and RJ just to figure it out. But the thing with RJ is it's not just him. Half RJ, half Tibbs. Tibbs has to stop allowing players with bad habits to continue with these bad habits. And if you got, I don't care if your idea is that the Knicks need to get up these shots because it helps space the floor. The wrong players are shooting these shots. Get the ball into the hands of the guys who should be getting those shots up, spacing the floor, that have a chance to knock it down. RJ doesn't need to be taking. Actually, RJ doesn't need to be taking more threes in a game than Quickly or Grimes. Both of those guys should be taking more. They should have more three attempts than RJ should. I even want to see Dante shooting more than RJ from three. Just RJ needs to learn how to get into the paint, work on that layup game, get his James Harden on, get to the foul line. You know what I mean? Do those type of things, and we'll be all right. But that's what I'm looking for. I'm watching those guys.
All right, who we want to pass it to? Ryan, pass it over to Ryan. We go to Luke
All right,
after that.
so the two players I'm really watching for this season, the first one is RJ, because I feel like the way the roster is constructed at the moment, if the Knicks are to reach that next level, RJ needs to reach that next level. RJ has to be that consistent third scorer that the Knicks need behind Brunson and Randall. And I think in the preseason, he's shown some glimpses of improvement. Like, I do like the fact that he's more ambidextrous nowadays. He doesn't just drive left anymore. He drives left and right. He can finish both with the left and the right hand. So I like that. I like that about RJ's game, and the fact that he's starting to take pull-up jumpers as well when the space is there and knocking them down. That's another improvement that I like about RJ's game as well. And I think that with RJ, if he can just show some type of consistency and at least be a bit better when he shoots, his shooting percentages, I do think that, the Knicks do have a chance to at least improve a bit with RJ's consistent performances. And the other player I'm looking out for is Quickly, because I know the Knicks didn't re-sign Quickly, so I think this is going to be a big season for him, because obviously he's going to be playing for his next contract. So, just seeing how, he takes on that pressure and handles it and just goes about the season, So for me, it's both RJ and Quickly.
I got two. First one is Isaiah Hartenstein. I want to see Tibbs utilize his playmaking more. Dude showed last year toward the end of the season and that first round as a Cavs. He's a hell of a playmaker. Really good at finding cutters. Really good at keeping the ball moving as that secondary or tertiary passer, as a hockey assist. I love it. He just has a really high IQ, and I feel like he's really getting acclimated to these guys as well, becoming accustomed to their trends and movement around the court. So seeing him better utilized and be able to hit a three. We got to have some big.
Please.
Now that Obi's gone, some big that's able to hit a three. And hasn't shown any of that stretchability he had with the Clippers. It's non-existent. At a distance, it was an 8-game sample size that year. If he hit some threes, maybe that would have been a good indicator that it was probably a lying advertisement. Second choice, Randall. As someone who struggled with anger issues in the past, mental illness, I'm rooting for the guy. We're both from he's from North Dallas. I'm from South Dallas. So we're both from the same city. And now that Obi's gone, there's no real reason to trade Randall anymore. He's here to stay. He's obviously being committed and boosted from the front office. So I'm going to root for him to have finally first back-to-back consistent seasons in his career. I want to see him, drop the attitude, drop the selfishness, get back on defense, be a good communicator, always help out, dive for loose balls. If we see that, man, I think we can get to the East Conference Finals and maybe beyond.
I was definitely gonna say Hartenstein as well. So I'll just add that something that I never really thought about, but maybe he can fill in the same way Joakim Noah did in Chicago. I see a lot of similarities, especially with the playmaking. So Tibbs could definitely know how to utilize him more, and we've seen it, like you said, at the end of last year, and we've seen it throughout the preseason. So I think it's going to become a staple. And just to name somebody who wasn't named, I'm gonna go with Sims, just to see if he does fill in that backup center slash power forward role. I think he's more of a center. So maybe Hartenstein is at the backup four, and DiVincenzo, just to see what he adds. He's the one guy that we have like the biggest, like we don't really know what he's gonna bring. We have ideas, maybe the shooting, maybe the ball handling, maybe the playmaking, but we have yet to see it really. The one thing we did see from him though is that defense on the perimeter, and that is one thing I'm definitely looking forward to.
No doubt.
Yeah.
That's
no
a
doubt.
fact. I just want to say I think there was maybe a 4 or 5 play series where I think DiVincenzo got like 3 steals in a row, like something like that, and within 5 or 6 plays, like it was crazy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
When you talk to Golden State fans, they always, I think I spoke about it on another pod. They always talk about how DiVincenzo gives you winning plays. So they don't really say exactly what he does, but he just does winning plays. He just makes winning plays. So I'm excited.
Sound like another Nova guy, huh?
Exactly. I always say it's like having 2 Josh Harts just with a better jump shot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Might as well talk, Ebony. What you think?
Yeah. Who I'm excited to see. I give you 2. I'm excited. Who I want to see. I'm not really, I'm not the biggest Randall fan, but he's on my team, so I would never wish him bad. So I'm excited to see him. I would like to see him be more selfless. To see just how he reacts with the team. He seems, like we said, better mentally. He seems like he's not taking himself so serious right now, joking. You see him and Jimmy Fallon, so you see something different. At least I do, and I just want to see that happen on a show on the court. And who else? I got to shoot my guy Mitch. You already know. I need to see. I want to see him. I want to see. Please, like a drop step or something, Mitch. You my guy, though. You my guy. You're my guy.
We gonna see it.
You my guy. A drop step. I'm cool with that, or a little hook, something. But I'm just excited to see his growth and on both sides. I think he can have a candidate to be DPOY or make a defensive or team this year. So I'm excited to see him play and Randall. Yeah, those
Yeah.
my 2.
Yeah. I guess I'll jump in there. I'm really paying attention to Grimes and Dante DiVincenzo. I feel like those shooting guard spots are just so important for us. With Grimes, he's got to knock down the shots, right? When he gets those open kickouts from Julius, from Jalen Brunson. Hopefully, RJ is going to be able to kick some out to him as well. But like, he's the 3-and-D guy in that lineup. You know what I mean? And he's going to do it on the defensive side, but he's got to do it on the offensive side, knocking down those threes when it's available. I don't have a lot of hope in this, but I really want to see him be able to give Brunson some help handling the basketball in that lineup. You know what I mean? Because I just feel like you need another guard out there to help, from time to time. Last year, against Miami in the playoffs, they were pressuring Brunson. I mean, they was pressuring it. I felt like I was coaching one of my AAU teams when I don't have ball handlers out there.
We missed IQ in the playoffs, man. We missed IQ.
You know what I'm saying? Watching the game, I know what it feels like to not have ball handlers and they take out your one ball handler. You know what I'm saying? And then you can't get into anything that you want to get into. Guys don't know how to make decisions. That's what it felt like in that Miami series when they were trying to take Brunson. He was still getting his, scoring the ball. But as far as getting us into the things that we want to do, they were just making it tough. By the time we could get into anything, now we're down to 14 seconds on the shot clock. You know what I'm saying? So we got to have another guy that can really, handle the ball, be able to do something, get us into another set. I'm not sure Grimes can do that, but I'm watching, really watching his development. And then Dante DiVincenzo basically for the same things. Can he be a guy in that second unit that helps take some of the pressure off of Quickly, let Quickly be off the ball a little bit, and let Dante, run some pick and roll. Because I think he can create a little bit off the pick and roll. I think he can be a ball handler off the pick and roll. Right now, I'm not. He probably doesn't know all the sets, and he's still learning. So we didn't really get to see it in the preseason. But I'm hoping that by game 30, that's my mark. That's my number. Game 30, I want to be able to see, him doing a little bit more in the offense. Being a little more aggressive. So I'm gonna pass it to Steph.
Yeah, I'm watching RJ Barrett. I'm watching RJ Barrett. I'm not expecting RJ Barrett to shoot. That's just not his game. What I'm looking for RJ Barrett is to find his flow on this team. I saw it in the playoffs. I saw it with the FIBA. I saw it in the preseason. You're not a three-point shooter. So he's going to the basket. He's absorbing contact. He's finishing. We're getting something out of the drives from RJ Barrett. Either he's finishing, he's getting to the free throw line, or he's setting somebody up for easy looks. That's what I saw in the playoffs. That's what I saw in FIBA. That's what I saw in the preseason. That's RJ Barrett's game. I forgot who said it. I think it was Ron. Bring them three-pointers down. I know you got to shoot a few to keep the defense honest. I get it. But 1 for 8, 2 for 9. Like, I just feel like that's just too much three-point shooting. But so I got my RJ Barrett just to see if he's found his space on this team, if he's found his space in this offense with Randall and Brunson. I'm not really looking at the shooting. I think the other player I'm watching is Julius Randle, but not for what those on this panel is watching for. I'm watching to see if Julius Randle can become that guy in the playoffs. That's what I'm looking to see from RJ. I'm forward for Julius Randle. I have no problems with Julius Randle's emotionality 2 years ago. Yeah, I did. But to me, he cleaned that up. Last year, in my opinion, he was fine. He's a player that has to play on the edge to be effective. Yeah. Rasheed Wallace was one of those guys. There's a few others in the history of the NBA have to play on the edge. In the playoffs against Miami, he was flat. No emotion, nothing, and he looked terrible. I think the ankle was part of it, but I think that lack of emotion for him was a part of it as well. Yeah. Play on the edge, don't go over. That's it. You might get a tech or two. That happens throughout the league. Guys get techs, right? Play your game, do what you do, but I need to see Julius Randle step up in the playoffs. He can be named MVP of the regular season. I don't even care. I don't care. I need to see what he does in the playoffs. That's what I'm focusing on, because if Julius Randle in the playoffs becomes, I don't know, 80% of what he is in the regular season, we talking something totally different as far as this team is concerned. We talking something totally different. So I'm not focusing on whether he's helping people up. I'm not focusing on his body language. I'm not focusing on even if he gets a tech. Luka Doncic, so many guys in the league get tech. I'm not worried about any of that. I need Julius Randle to show up in the playoffs. No doubt. Period. Point blank. That's it. That's what. So I'm watching Julius Randle, and I'm watching RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
My man MIB. I'm sorry, Jay. He said, and my NBIC said they don't like RJ. Telling Josh that we don't like RJ. NBIC, Josh doesn't like RJ. Okay? You're telling the wrong guy. Josh doesn't like RJ. There you go.
Yeah, Josh be taking little weird shots out. It's crazy.
RJ. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jay. I ain't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, RJ to me is the obvious answer. I mean, because like people already know, like we were bottom of the league in field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and you look at that starting five, everybody was pretty good in those areas except for RJ Barrett. So to me that's the obvious answer. But I want to talk more about Quentin Grimes, and I have a word answer. I feel like it's Quentin Grimes and kind of the collective of Tom Thibodeau and the playmakers on the team. And I might just point to the preseason game where Quentin Grimes was the man. He was the alpha on the team. There was no RJ Barrett. There was no Jalen Brunson. There was no Julius Randle. And he went off. He got a lot of shots. He was hitting all the shots he was working on with JJ Redick, movement shooting, he was hitting all those. And you're like, wow, this guy is amazing. Look what he does when he has the room to operate from 3-point line. Next game, those guys come back in. My man does not see the ball at all. So I remember everybody being hyped, including myself, when they heard that there was going to be plays run for Quentin Grimes. I have not seen a play run for Quentin Grimes this entire preseason. Bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray. Shout out to my Malcolm X shirt. I felt like we got lied to in the preseason. I need to see that in the regular season. I need some plays, one for Quentin Grimes when he's running on screens. I need some of that. I need my ball handlers, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, to find him. And I want to see if he can actually get more shots up and kind of up his game. Like, because he was a high volume 3-point shooter in college. We averaged 8 shots a game from 3 and shot close to 40%. I think he can easily do that in the NBA if given the shots to do it. But he hasn't had the shots to do it. So we need to find a way to incorporate him more in offense. So that's why I have a weird answer. It's like it's Grimes plus the ball handlers plus Tibbs.
I agree with that 100% because they were talking about down screens and all kinds of stuff for Grimes, and we didn't see one in the preseason. Not one. He was standing outside the 3-point line with his hands up.
The funny thing is, we didn't see it in the games when the starters was out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even those shots, he took more shots, but they were they was his same shots that we always see from him.
Right.
So,
Jay Ellis, it was funny. I mentioned Tibbs and Steph's ladies' night pod as somebody I was watching because exactly I agree. Tibbs in the offense, like the creativity that can make or break us. I would like to see him get the shooters more involved earlier. Maybe that can help take some pressure off of Randle and Brunson if he does.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think it would definitely help take the pressure off because now, if you got guys knocking down shots, and you're actually doing plays for these guys too, teams, they got to stick to these guys, which is going to open up the floor. It makes it tougher to double team. You're more, you're afraid to double team because, these guys might get open shot and knock it down.
And just the movement helps make mistakes. You got now on your defense, you got to think and move. That could cause confusion.
That can cause confusion. I mean, we see it, when the Knicks play a team that moves the ball a lot, you can see how confused we get sometimes.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean?
3 passes, be all over the place.
Yeah, for real. Anything else anybody want to add as far as players to watch?
You good to go.
No Deuce mentions.
Well, I like all the kids. So if messing with me, I mention everybody. Deuce
Ebony said Jacob Toppin. That's just
right.
Does Fournier get any minutes?
No.
Situational.
Get out yet? That's
that's what Tibbs said.
Coach,
right?
I don't think he is.
Yeah, that's just. I don't want to say yet because Fournier is going to be mad, but no, that's what that is.
Right.
That's exactly what he did.
I mean, if I'm Fournier and I played as much as I played in the preseason, even during times when like the rotation guys were playing, and then I go to 0, I'll be hot. I mean, I would be. I would feel like I'm forced to say something now. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be mad as a mug.
I mean, we had the worst defense in the preseason, and guess who was playing a lot? Just saying. Just saying.
Hey, you sound like Tibbs. In the beginning, before the season started, he said, "Well, when I took him out the lineup, look what happened. You can't argue with it."
That was cold blood.
You can't argue with it. That was cold blooded though. He
Yeah,
I wonder what that.
Yeah.
I wonder what that conversation has been like behind closed doors.
Hey, even Fournier's first action in the preseason started with a 10-0 run for the other team.
That's a
It
fact.
did. It did. It did. It's no.
That
I don't
nigga
think it was his
disappeared.
fault, but it did because I was watching. I was like, damn! As soon as he came in, and I don't think his guy even scored. But as soon as he stepped on the court, I was like, maybe it's just bad luck. So I don't know what it is.
Y'all gotta stop it, man. You lucky Andy's sleep right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. He'll catch it. He'll catch it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I guess we can move to the next questions about like the keys to the,
Keys to the season.
yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. I don't know who wants to jump in and go first. Lee? Oh,
Nah, go ahead, Lee. You haven't spoke much.
Keys of the season: the continued evolution of Tom Thibodeau, adding new wrinkles to the offense. Like I said, he did start utilizing Hartenstein's playmaking in the second half of the season. Started trusting IQ more on ball toward the end of the season, and has every year created an unbelievable defense with the spare parts and role players that this team has. Without one like really superior perimeter defender, was still able to be a pretty solid defensive unit, especially in the playoffs. We advanced even more. So yeah, Tibbs evolving, continuing to try new things. Maybe Johnny Bryant having more of a voice and impacting some of the starting lineup and rotation changes. I think it would be a good idea since Tibbs, you can pretty much expect a certain kind of offense to run out of him. It's going to be very ISO heavy and on ball dominant. So I would love to have some different voices on the bench. Only Johnny Bryant. The rest are just Tibbs that are yes men. So yeah, give Bryant a bigger role, and don't be afraid to pull the trigger on a trade if one opens up. I think one of the 5 guys we have our eye on, or maybe 2, will be available at the trade deadline. And if that happens, I hope Leon Rose has the balls to do what's necessary and bring one of those guys in here so we can start competing for some chips. Because I think the team that we have is very fun. They play hard. They're well coached. They're likable guys. But as many on the panel have agreed, this is not a championship team as of yet. So if the opportunity comes to get an Embiid, not a Cat, but an Embiid level player, go for it.
Yeah. Ebony?
I think I agree with a lot of Lee said, except for the Embiid part. But other than that, I agree with a lot of what he said. I think Tibbs and like you said, adding the creativity to the offense to help out the players, because I think a lot of time our offense was stagnant and we struggled to find easy buckets sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So just doing that and trying to like loosen the reins. Remember how Derrick Rose was, saying everybody was upset a little bit about how he said about the freedom, what's different between Memphis and New York. So maybe giving the people a little bit more freedom, so they're not thinking and they're just playing more so. I think a lot of times, especially with the youth, when you have young players, you don't want to take away their confidence because that can be hard to get back.
McBride.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely I think that's definitely something we need to do, and also just what else? Defense. Well, defense together. We, like you mentioned, we weren't the best defensive on a perimeter, so maybe working with that, trying to get straighten that out. I just think if we work as a committee, if everybody buying into their roles, if everybody believes their roles and works towards and stars it, I think we can make people believe us and make that next leap to maybe to find the Eastern Conference Finals. Just to build on it, to build on last year's big key. Maybe then we can get somebody to say, "Hey, that's the team for me that y'all asking for." I don't know who that would be, but I like this team the way it is. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, that's it.
We gotta trade somebody, Ebony. We gotta trade somebody.
At some point, it's
You know,
gonna
to
happen.
win the chip, right?
Suppose we like a Detroit Pistons. Suppose just maybe like with everybody. You know what team that we kind of similar to that we had the Sacramento team with Chris Webber and them. They didn't win, but
agree.
they were contenders. So
Want that ring though.
Yeah.
What's his name? Tim Donahue might have changed that. Remember that he was one of them refs. He was one of those refs. I remember him in the documentary.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He might have had a hand in that. So don't would you say throw away the committee yet? I like our team 5 in 5 out. I like that.
Shout out to Jeff Foster.
So our defense took a step back last year. We weren't the greatest shooting team last year. We had dry spells in the offense last year. So everything you guys mentioned, I think that would be great to improve on and great keys to the season. But I'm gonna go with like the things that we had hung our hat on last year, right? So even though we didn't shoot the ball well, it was about getting multiple possessions. So them offensive rebounds, you know what I mean? I think the same things that got us to where we were
Right.
could keep us to where we were. And then if those other things get better, the Tibbs changing the offense, tweaking the offense here and there, and or the defense taking a reverting back to what it was 2 years ago, I think everything else will be gravy. But I'm gonna just say the keys are gonna be those same things that got us to where we were last year. Top 3 offense, even though we're not a good shooting team. So
Crazy.
yeah, if the shooting improves, sky's the limit. That's the way I'm looking at it.
That's a
But
fact.
if it doesn't, then we're gonna have to keep doing those things, getting them offensive rebounds, getting them extra possessions, limiting our turnovers. You know what I mean? Those things that got us to where we were. So I'm keep it simple.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steph.
For me, it's help. One of the keys to the season is staying healthy. The Knicks were really healthy last season, not so much the season before. I think another key to the season is the chemistry. I know we're saying, oh, we just swapping out Ovi for DiVincenzo, but that changed a lot for us. It changed that second unit. It changed, now Hart is the backup, power forward. So some things changed with that switch. We're smaller now. So really being able to establish chemistry, that's going to be important for this team. And Tony, you stole it. Shooting, the shooting. If we continued, we were the third or fourth in offensive rating by just getting attempts up, getting the 3 points up, get to the free throw line, get our attempts up. We continue to do that, and you add shooting. The Knicks were number 1 in open shots last season in the league in getting open shots, and I think 15th in knocking them down. So we become a better shooting team, converting some of those open shots. The sky's the limit for the offense. So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That's what I think the keys to the season are.
Yeah. And I for the most part, I agree with what everyone is saying, about the keys to the season. I think I'd like to add in the second unit. I want to see how fast that second unit is able to come together, because I think the second unit in the preseason, for me, showed a little bit of, that they didn't have as much chemistry yet.
Right.
You had Dante DiVincenzo in the unit, you had Evan Fournier in that second unit, at least in the preseason. So that's basically 2 new players, because Evan Fournier, normally didn't play with that unit. And then I think last night, what was it? What was it, Ron, when we were talking? And Jay, Josh Hart is basically new to that unit too.
Right.
He only played like 30 games or whatever it was last season. So, that's a new second unit. I think they have talent in the second unit, but it's kind of new. So I think they may need to, figure some things out together. Also, if Tom Thibodeau is going to continue to, his rotation, the way that he's doing the rotation, where he's staggering players as they come in and then staggering them as he's bringing the starters back, I think they're going to have to get used to that as well. They started doing that a little bit at the end of last season, but for a lot of his rotations were like, Randall and Brunson played almost the entire first quarter, and then at the top of the second quarter, you got almost your entire bench, and maybe RJ was out there with him. So you started an entire quarter with one group of guys. What he's done in this preseason is, Randall went out a little earlier, Brunson went out a little earlier, and then he staggered in quickly and Josh Hart, and then he'd bring Dante in for Grimes, right? So there's little lineups there that probably need to figure out how to work together for those 2 or 3 minutes that they're on the court together. So I think that's going to be a key, especially in the beginning of the season. I think I'd like to add on transition offense.
I took mine.
All right, took yours. Yeah, I'll pass it over to you. You can get it. Take this. I thought in the preseason they did a good job running transition. They looked better spreading the floor out. You know what I mean? Like running lanes. In the past, they'd be bumbling over each other. I thought they looked a lot better in transition. So I think if we can get we talked about having the third best offense, but if they can also get some easy buckets in transition, that will go, a long way. And that might have been Freezy I was on with last night that talked about Josh Hart being new to that lineup. I think it was Freezy I was on with last night. After you guys, I ended up jumping on with Freezy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Jay, I guess, I'll transition it over to you.
All right. Well, transit. I see what you did. Okay, I see what you did there. All right. So listen, man. Transition, right? It's funny how like the end of last season we were really bottom of the league in steals, and then we brought Josh Hart onto the team, and it was a jump. I felt like we jumped up 2 spaces just by having Josh Hart play with our guys, and it shored up our bench as well. The bench production was really, really good. It took a shot in the arm. So like for me, I'm not worried about the bench, to be honest with you. But so I feel like transition is definitely a key. But we don't really get out in transition a lot because we don't really steal the ball a lot as well. And that was an issue. I think we were bottom 25 in steals. But now that we have Dante with Josh Hart, I think that might start to change. And I think we're going to see a lot more transition basketball coming from that second unit. And I think it's going to take a leap. And like Sim said, we're going to have extra possessions coming our way. And I'm gonna just add, I'm not worried about the bench because Quickly only played 45 total minutes in preseason.
It's true.
Evan Fournier is going to be on the bench. Josh Hart's going to play more. And the bench unit is going to come together. It was a short time where we saw IQ and Dante together where I felt like it looked good for that stint when they were playing off of each other. So I think we'll be okay when we have the actually solidified bench unit in the game. So I'm not worried about that. I don't know. Who gonna go Ron or Ryan? I don't think you guys went yet.
Yeah. For me, I think everybody, first and foremost, I think everybody made great points. I think for me, the main key to the season is probably continuity and growth. These guys have played with each other for a while now, so I just want to see the chemistry improve amongst the players that are here. Dante's a new piece coming in, but for the most part, these guys have been playing with each other. They've been growing with each other, so I just want to see that continued growth amongst the players on the roster. And also just growth in general because, a lot of our young guys, especially last season, like for a lot of them, that was their first taste of the playoffs. And I think that especially Knicks Twitter, because Knicks Twitter was wilding during the playoffs. They were just wilding, saying some outrageous stuff. And I feel like people forget that a lot of these guys on the Knicks are young and they don't have much playoff experience. So expecting them to just go into the playoffs, whether it's their first or second time in the playoffs, and just expect them to go off is a bit unrealistic. So this upcoming season, I just want to see the continuity with the players, growing with each other, chemistry growing, and then also on top of that, see when the playoffs come, how these young players have grown since they've already got a taste of it last season.
I like that answer.
Yeah. Yeah, Ron.
Okay, I'll just jump in. And shout out to Josh. I've been waiting for like 45 minutes to say something about that. I just keep forgetting. Shout out to Josh. RIP to Mr. Richard Roundtree. the one and only original Shaft. Definitely a sad moment, for people growing up who nostalgic and have seen Shaft movies. Man, Richard Roundtree was a bad mother. Well, okay, you know where I was
Shut
going.
your mouth.
There you go. Yeah, man. So I only got 2 keys, okay? Because I think what the Knicks do well, they're going to continue to do well. It's in their DNA. And I think that's why Thibodeau doesn't reinvent the wheel. He doesn't stray from what he knows that these guys can do, because he tried to do a couple little wrinkles last year early in the season, and he was on the hot seat. So he's like, nope, going back to my Tibbs ways, and that's what we're going to rock with. So I'm okay with that. And let's not forget, going into the playoffs, the Cleveland Cavaliers had the #1 defense. In the playoffs, the Knicks had the #1 defense in the whole playoffs until we got to Miami. But it is what it is. I just need a wrinkle, okay? I don't need much. I've talked about this multiple times. I just need a wrinkle on perimeter defense. Just stop what you're doing, Tibbs, for a little bit. Give me a little wrinkle and throw some guys out there that can play that perimeter defense. Give us that like a taste of, maybe a Grimes, quickly, Josh Hart lineup on the perimeter. Give me a little of that for a little bit. Interchange Dante DiVincenzo and just keep throwing the opposing team. If the opposing team is raining threes, throw that at them for a little bit and let's see what we can do. Just, for a little bit and see how it works. But most importantly, the other key that I want to see, and I've been clamoring for this key for 3 years, so I don't think I'm going to see it this year either. I just want Tibbs to give me a true situational rotation. I like what he's doing. I like how he's expanding on things. I need a situational rotation where when things aren't going right, he looks down at the bench and says, we're down by 15 and this guy can't hit anything. Call Fournier over, give Fournier 5 minutes, see if he can get us back in the game. The Knicks are playing good for the most part, but there's one guy that's lighting us up no matter what we do. Deuce. Give Deuce 5-6 minutes, see what Deuce can do, if he can shut that dude down. Like, situational. Let me tell you something. If the Knicks would have done that, especially last year, they would have had a chance. I'm not saying we would have beat Miami in the playoffs because there was too many, question marks that we had, but Fournier's sitting on the bench. We're getting bombed from 3. Nobody else is hitting. Quickly's out of the game. Grimes is not offensively giving us anything. Julius is struggling. You can't tell me that you couldn't have gone to the bench and said, Fournier, give me some minutes. Let's see if you can start raining something. Get some momentum going. That's all I want to see. I know I'm not going to see it, but that's my key that I would love to see because I think that would help the team get out of some of those tight spots where we got no answers. That's it.
Especially when Duncan Robinson was in that same position as Fournier, and Spo was able to put him in the game, and he did damage against us. You know what I mean? So yeah. I agree.
I think they really had no choice because it was.
Zone, I think if they would have busted up that zone, it would have been a different series. I think we would have had them definite. They couldn't guard us 1-on-1.
That's a fact.
Not a chance.
Yep.
No doubt. Jay, we got a question for you. Nick Jr. 79 said, is it wise not to play Fournier when we need to trade him anyway? Not giving him any playing time devalues the asset, Fournier. Knicks need to play him so they can work on a trade.
I mean, it would be nice, but I don't know. In my mind, how much trade value does he have really? Like, if we play him, even if we play him situational minutes, right? I don't think his trade value is going to be really isn't that much from what it was last year.
Right.
And so I don't really see the benefit of raising his trade value because I feel like you play him 5 or 10 minutes a game. It doesn't do anything for me or for the trade market. So it doesn't really matter. Like it really doesn't. And he's an expiring team option.
That's his true value right there.
Right.
Boom. That's his true value. Right. So, hey, take that. We'll give you some book relief. That's the value. And you can value yourself on the bench.
And teams know who he is.
Somebody else's bench.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that stuff. Fortunately for us as with the Knicks, with the Knicks, like I'm in the front office. But anyway,
we all are.
Yeah, right. Fournier is the type of player everybody knows what you're getting.
Correct.
And he's already, even this little preseason spell. I mean, you saw he got hot. He can light it up. He can do that to any team. Knows Fournier can shoot. So I think it doesn't. Even if he doesn't play a lot, he'll still be a trade piece.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with that. No doubt. Did everybody go?
Yeah.
Anyone want to add anything else about some of the keys to the season?
Nah, we got the keys.
Yeah, I think
DJ
we
Khaled
keys,
that.
right.
Yeah,
I think we got that down.
I just wanted to say about the bench. I think our bench is going to force people to play their starters earlier than they want to. Like
I hope
You're
not.
right.
Big
I
comment.
hope not, because I don't want to see Hart playing against a starting power forward.
Well, the thing is, that's one thing Tibbs will adjust that. If he sees starters coming back in, believe he's going right back to Randall,
Yeah,
right back
I
to
agree with that. He will
back,
do
you know
that.
what I mean?
He will do that. The fans will be mad. They'll be hot. But he'll do that. He'll go right back to his starters quick.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Tibbs can't wait to get back to his starters.
any excuse, right?
Can't wait, boy.
They did it. Come on, bring them.
He can't wait at all. Yeah. All right. Which players will be in the closing lineups?
I want to hear this.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think that's going to be a tough one. I think Tom Thibodeau's going to be trying to figure that out for a little while. But
I got one.
Well, we know Brunson and Randall will be in.
Well, you know that.
other
Yeah.
three.
There's no doubt. You know that.
I'm adding quickly at this point. And credit to you, Queen. I always got to reference you. One, he's part of every one of our best defensive lineups, and we know what he could do offensively. So I can't see quickly, unless he's just having a horrible game, that particular game, I can't see him not closing.
Yeah. You know what I want to see? I like, this is an opportunity for us to see how our team looks with two shooters on the team at the same time in the closing minutes. Shoot close to 40%. Like, we've never had that before. So I want to see Brunson, Grimes, Dante, Randall, Hart. I want to see that closing lineup sometimes. Ooh. I want to see that. And now let's see if you're going to triple team Brunson and see what happens. Because Dante will pull that joint from the logo, and Grimes is a quick trigger with it. So I want to see that. Plus,
and they could defend.
And they can defend. Plus, our second best lineup last year was Brunson, IQ, Josh Hart, Randall, Hart. So I mean, you swap out Josh Hart for Dante as your shooter. I want to see that one.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. And also with Hartenstein, you're gonna get open up some passing lanes as well. So I'm good with that.
Yeah, true. And driving lanes.
Yeah.
I want Tibbs to play whoever's is hot. Whoever's winning us the game, please play them. Do not sit them, please. Whatever, even if it's not Randall, like just whoever has the hot hand, ride them. I'm cool with that. I'm cool as long as he does that. I thought he did a great job, and when we had that when we was the 4th seed that season, I thought he did that season. I was like, okay, Tibbs is learning, But then, like we said, he had to go back to his bag because his job was on the line.
Right.
But if he can do that, I'm with it. I don't care who it is, as long as he rides the hot hand.
Yeah, I think he will do that with some of the guys, but I think his base guys are going to include Randall and Brunson. Like that's etched in at the beginning of at the middle of every fourth quarter. All right, these two guys is coming in the game. I think that's and then the other three. Ryan, let me add, is RJ in that closing lineup?
If I got to be real about it,
here we go.
If I got to be real about it, I don't think he's going to be in the closing lineup. I think the way Thibs is going to use RJ is going to start games. He's going to get a lot of minutes with that second team. The second team guys, coming in, off the bench. He's going to play a lot with those guys. So I think the majority of his minutes is going to come within those first 3 quarters and maybe like the first part of the fourth quarter. But I think when it comes to closing games, unless RJ has a hot hand, I can't see Thibs going to RJ. My closing lineup, I really don't have a clue. I know, like you said, Brunson, Randall, we definitely know those two are going to be there. I think the other three is going to be a toss-up. But if I have to choose a closing lineup, I probably would say Quickly would probably be in there. Grimes would probably be in there. And Mitch with Randall and Brunson, if I have to guess Thibs closing lineup.
Yeah.
I was
23
with you
point-
until you said Mitch. I was with you.
No
I'm
Mitch
with-
slander.
No,
No.
Mitch slander. Nah, Mitch got to be in there. He erased too many mistakes not to be.
But if you have good perimeter defenders, it's not as important. I mean, it's important, particularly in our starting lineup when we don't have good perimeter defenders. But if you got good perimeter defenders, you can get away with Hart.
And it may be depending on if we're down or if we're up in closing the game. Do we need the defense or do we need the offense? You know what I mean? That may determine if Mitch is out there or if Hartenstein is out there. And in Hartenstein's defense, he's not a slouch defensively. You know what I mean? He's not a liability defensively. So if we need the offense, you may see Mitch on the bench on a given game or two.
Yeah. Well, we need to tell Bam that because when he seen him, he said, "Let's go! It's go time." Every time he said, "It's go time."
You want to know what the closing lineup is and what it's going to be? Brunson, Grimes, RJ, Randall, Robinson. That's going to be the closing lineup until one of those guys doesn't play up to par. He's going to give them guys a shot. Okay. He's going to give RJ a shot. He's going to give all them dudes a shot. But when one of them guys ain't doing what they need to do, if RJ looks like he's getting beat by his man and it's affecting the team in the closing moments or like in that fourth quarter to start, I think he's going to have a quick trigger and start, moving around. But I think he's going to give that starting lineup the chance to be the closing unit. And Grimes is the X factor to me because he's the one guy that could change a lot of this. He is the one guy that could really change a lot of this. If he just gets confident in his offensive game and we can depend on him in closing moments where it's not just Julius and Randall and a little bit of RJ. I think that's the difference maker right there. That's what we need. If we want to be consistent and win, especially this year with the tough schedule and who we playing, we need Grimes to step up, man. It's imperative.
Yeah.
Ron said, let's get to this X Factor question.
Oh, my bad. Is there an X Factor question?
Yeah, there's an X Factor question. That was the next
That's
one.
a segue. That's a segue.
Segue. I guess all I'll say is RJ, $23.8 million this season. Third highest paid player on the team. If he's not one of your closers, man, I don't know. I mean, obviously, Tibbs is going to put out the best guys, the guys that he's thinking is getting the job done. You know what I mean? I feel like Quickly might be in that spot as a closer too. I do because of his defense.
I'm gonna go a different direction than y'all. I think I would start Hartenstein center because we saw in the past the opposing team starts foul baiting Mitch, sending him to the line, and he is our worst free throw shooter of the bunch. I'd much rather trust Hartenstein at the free throw line because it's going to happen. Not only that, he has a pretty solid offensive game around the basket. He developed that little hook shot. He's got a teardrop in the paint, and his defense at the rim, shot blocking helps weak side, and overall the defensive ability is right behind Mitch in almost every metric. They're really neck and neck, even on offensive rebounding. They're pretty neck and neck in two. So you're not losing much having Hartenstein instead of Mitch, but you are gaining playmaking, which is very important in the fourth quarter where we're dead last in pace, dead last in ISO usage.
It all depends on the matchup, really. Because I always say this, like when we have those long centers, those really tall, really long centers, that's when you're going to need Mitch because those are the type of centers that bully Hartenstein. But then when you don't have those guys, you have a little more leeway to play Hartenstein and close with him some more time. So the matchup really matters.
Nah, no doubt. It definitely does. And we got to see if Tibbs is going to use Hartenstein as a passer
Right.
in some occasions too. I mean, I think
true.
if he uses Hartenstein at the top of the key to pass, and you can have Randall quickly, RJ, whoever else is out there cutting, backdoor cuts and things, that could be so effective, and change the way teams have to defend us.
We saw a
You know,
little
Let
bit
him
of
shoot a
that.
3 or 2.
and yeah, knock down, shoot a couple of threes or whatever.
Please.
Did he make one? He made one, right?
I think he made
He-
one in.
He made one in preseason.
Like
Yeah.
He
one for
made
like
3. I think he
12,
made
right?
3.
He made
Har-
3.
Hartenstein?
He made
I
3 in
don't remember
preseason.
one.
Yeah,
I
he
remember
made at
one.
least 2. He made at least 2.
Yeah, I think he made 3 in total.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I really think that Hartenstein, and I don't need trades, because I always say that together they make the perfect center. They're the no matter what type of game plan a team wants, we can adjust, and that's what I like about this team. And we can go in different ways.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. All right, Ron, you were anxious to get to the X factors.
Yeah.
What we got here? X Factor. Okay.
X Factor.
Yeah.
What do you got to say?
All right. Well, first, before I give you my X Factor, which you have no idea who it's gonna be,
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
shout out to Fritz Aus, man, holding it down on the KOT side.
Listen.
Shout out to Fritz.
No.
What's going on, Fritz?
Best mod in the game.
Hey. So all right, okay. I have more than one X Factor, but I would say my 1A, okay, is Grimes. I think Grimes is the key to the Knicks' overall success, like longevity type success. I think the other X Factor, which he really shouldn't be an X Factor, but because he's so damn inconsistent, you know who it is. It's RJ. RJ is a freaking X Factor for this team. If RJ balls out, the Knicks are going to be a problem. I don't care what nobody says. The Knicks are going to be a handful for teams, because you already know what you're going to get from certain guys in this team. It's the guys who just haven't given you enough at certain moments. And the thing about RJ, the reason why RJ is really important, even more important than Grimes, even though I got Grimes as 1A, RJ has a different mentality. Like he's like, you can't shake RJ. RJ can go 2 for 15, and in the final seconds of the game hit a fall away 3 that he didn't know was called for him. And then Jason Tatum can look at him like, what happened? So yeah, RJ is just the type of guy that he can really, like, if he can just get that extra level. He don't need more confidence. He's very confident, but if he can get that extra level of confidence, knowing that his game is transcending, he's getting to the free throw line, getting those looks. And that's the thing. Goes back to the whole thing. The Knicks do so many little things that I am shocked at, because I'm not saying that Tom Thibodeau is a disciplinarian, but he comes off as a disciplinarian. I thought he was, but he lets everybody do whatever the hell they want on this team. So I'm confused. Like, there's a lot of bad habits, and there's not a lot of policing on fundamentals, free throw shooting, making the smart play at the basket, cutting screens, doing different things to open things up for your teammates, hitting the guy in the corner if he's wide open and not going up 1-on-3. Like, these are the type of things that we blame the players, because the players have the ball and that's who we're watching. But Tibbs has a lot of fault in that as well. He's letting too much go, to the side and not stopping it before it becomes a habit. So
it's old age, man. It's old age. You know, when you have like a bunch of kids, by the time you get to like the third kid, you're like, do what you want. Like, I feel like that's what's happening. He's like, 12th season,
whatever.
Box out, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, usually when you got a bunch of kids, the older kids are responsible in keeping the younger ones in check. So we might need.
We don't have any older kids right now.
Taj, we go get Taj. Taj will be one of them older kids. We go get Taj.
Yeah, bring him home.
Yeah, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, Ryan. X Factors.
Yeah, for me it's RJ easily because I feel like RJ is the key because the Knicks already have a good 1-2 punch. You know what you get for you know what you're gonna get from Brunson every night. You know what you're gonna get from Randall every night. If RJ can just take that step up, especially on a consistent level, and give the Knicks at least a consistent 20, 21 a game, shooting 45% from the field, I think that could be a big step up for the Knicks. And like Ron said earlier, if you have RJ balling out along with Brunson and Randall, the Knicks automatically become a problem for anybody that they go up against. So yeah, easily for me it's RJ.
I want to hear Steph.
Yeah, I mean, because of his usage, I was going to say Quick. I was going to say Quick just in that second unit. Um, that second unit can definitely be a force, but his minutes may be down just a little bit to make room for DiVincenzo. So if he's more efficient, he could probably still have that type of impact on that second unit. But I guess I will say RJ because of the usage, and I agree with you, Ron. I think his usage is way too high for for the way he shoots. But I don't really see who else could step on this team who could step into that and who can create off the dribble, handle the ball, that could take up some of that usage. So yeah, I'm gonna say RJ Barrett. If RJ Barrett can, 45% from the field, 34% from the 3-point line, and I'm not very confident in that though, but 34% from the 3-point line. But his floor, if he can't do that, his floor game is on point, changes everything for the Knicks. It changes everything for the Knicks because you can't have empty trips. Can't be driving and get empty trips. You're not going to the free throw line. So if he's driving, he looked good in preseason, absorbing contact, still finishing. He's doing that. He didn't have the tunnel vision. Remember we was at the playoffs? I was like, come on, RJ, I need you to look when you had the ball. but that's what I saw. FIBA playoffs, preseason. I think he's tops in the league. I'm not sure, top 20, whatever, and drives per game.
Yep.
Right? But his assist percentage is low and his turnover percentage was high. So now he's looking at people on those drives. So RJ changes everything. But the thing about it is he has to find a way to do it based on what he does. And I don't think 3-point shooting is it. That's not it. He has to find his game another way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lee, I want to hear what Lee can. Lee always has something a little bit out of the box.
I was going to say RJ too, but I don't want to sound like a broken record, so I'm going to say Dante DiVincenzo. I think Ryan said it best. His ability to hit his 3-pointers at 40% clip is key to having a rotation. Can always have 2 guys on the floor that can light it up from deep. It's going to help spacing, and also if he's playing the power forward position, it's really going to help free up RJ when he's getting to the basket and Brunson when he's getting to the basket. So DiVincenzo's shooting and playmaking and defense, he's billed as being above average at all 3. We saw a little bit up and down in the preseason. We haven't seen enough, but I think by the midway point, the continuity he has built in with Hart and Brunson will help ease his transition, and hopefully he'll get off to a good start because he's not a traffic cone like Fournier. When you see these white-ish looking guys, if you're going to be horrible on defense, DiVincenzo can naturally D up a little bit on the perimeter, and even some of those taller guards guard in the post. So I need the playmaking, and most importantly, I need that 3-point shooting, man. That's why we're paying you.
Yeah. I'd like to follow up because Dante is my X factor guy. I just feel like if he can really get himself into the offense, I'm not saying he's going to replace Grimes in the starting lineup, but if Grimes isn't getting it done because he can shoot the ball, he can do so many. He's so versatile offensively. He can go back, he can cut back door, he can go off the dribble, he can do some stuff in the pick and roll. He can help you handle the ball and he can shoot the ball. He can you can kick it out to him to knock it down. I think he might be able to replace Grimes quickly if I'm not saying as a starter, but if he's not playing well, here comes Dante. Boom. Let's get him in quick. You know what I mean? So I do think he's an X factor because he can do so many things offensively and so versatile. if Tom Thibodeau utilizes that versatility, I think it can really help open up the offense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ebony, I'm gonna come down to Ebony, but at the same time,
Mitch.
we'll switch over to the breakout season, and then I think Tony didn't go, and you can do both of them too. So, yeah, go ahead, Ebony.
I'm not gonna say Mitch. I wasn't gonna say RJ, but like Lee, I'm not gonna say, keep on the RJ train. I think we all agree that he is the X
Ebony.
factor.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna go. I guess I'm gonna go Grimes. I like Grimes. I think if he's able to hit his 3-point shot consistently, more efficient, then he takes the pressure off. He makes everything easier for Brunson and RJ and Randall and Mitch. There maybe they'll be less inclined to try to double anybody or come to help because you have to stay with Grimes. I need him to be that type of shooter or scorer, and he looks. I just need him to slow down, basically. A lot of times Grimes looks like he's on speed or something. He just constantly like jerky. He don't go nowhere all the game. You see Grimes. You
Nah.
can see his head moving, his brain moving a mile a minute, kind of thing.
Mm.
So just slow down, and if he can be that shooter for us in that lineup, it will open up a lot for us. So
Yeah.
yeah, Grimes.
Yeah, no doubt. Grimes even talks that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he even talks fast. You know what I mean? Ebony, which players do you think could have a breakout season? And then Tony, I'll come to you, and if you want to do the X Factor, boom.
A breakout season. I want to say Brunson, but to make that All-Star leap to be the superstar that we need, I would say Brunson. I think he's figured something out. I really think he's definitely figured out on what he needs to do and how to score. He picks his spots, and if it looks like his 3-point shot has gotten even better from the video that I've seen, you see him hitting it consistently, constantly. So if that goes down really, and they really have to respect him, then his handle, what that's about. He's gonna be deadly. I think he can make that leap. I think we have, how we were saying we need a superstar. I think we have him, to be honest. I'm not even gonna hold you.
I like that answer, Ebony. I
I
like
love that
that.
answer.
I like that
Great
answer.
Thank
Let's go.
Ooh, that's tough. You guys covered everything, and I kind of feel like X Factor and Breakout Season can kind of be one in the same,
We did
depending on.
have that discussion
Yeah,
last night.
I did. I was like, isn't that the same?
I mean, it could be. So I mean, obviously, I think X Factor RJ was like the main. Like we all agree on that. I was gonna say how DiVincenzo could be a X Factor as well. You guys covered that. Grimes could. I think there's so many possibilities as far as like who could actually break out or who could be a X Factor. Um, I'll go with I'll go with Mitch. How about that? I'll say Mitch. Um, and I'll go with both X Factor and could have a breakout. Yeah, because we haven't seen much of anything offensively other than putbacks and lobs. So, like to your point, Ebony, if we see one move, right, one consistent
One
move,
drop step.
One drop step.
once a game, that could be that could change the game for him. If he I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but if he could get a 12-footer, you know what I mean? I'm not even saying 20-footer,
Wow.
a 12-footer, you know what I mean? Just to
How about 5?
No Mitch slander.
Leave my comments alone.
any type of floor space. Maybe he could pick up some of these passing techniques from Hartenstein, you know what I mean? And add there's so much that Mitch could add to his game, and this is not a slander thing because he's great at what he's great at, and we absolutely need that. But if he adds anything offensively, right, like that just is, I think that changes the game. So I'll go with Mitch for X Factor. One, because of what he brings defensively, but the potential of what he could bring if he adds any aspect of his game.
personally, I feel like Mitch. I feel like they can do one simple thing that they haven't taken advantage of. Like I know you see these videos of him doing all these sham god Mitch moves, which you'll never try in a game, right? But I think he at least is competent enough to just do like a straight line drive and dunk it on somebody's head when nobody is guarding. Like I think he has enough to do that.
He crushed up Derek White.
Exactly. They hit him with the so you can at least drive straight and then dunk it on somebody's head. I think you can do that.
We might have seen it twice.
Yeah.
It was he went on Plumlee too.
Yeah, he threw us a little something at the end of the season.
Exactly. Like free Mitch, man. Free Mitch. I'm gonna go IQ though. You can go either way. I'm gonna just go IQ. Listen, contract year. Who doesn't ball out in the contract?
Yeah.
Contract year. You didn't pay him his money. He was this close to being 6th man of the year. All he gotta do is put together a full season of 6th man of the year. He was shot like he was shooting. I'm January shot 52% from the field, 46% from the field. February, 45% from the field. In March, the years before that, the months before that, he was in the 30s. So if he can continue that for the whole year, you get a 6th man of the year trophy. You get a little pay bump, a little bit of bidding war. He probably will leave us. It'll be sad for me, but
I was like, yeah, stuff that part. No,
right. I'm being realistic, but I can see a pissed off, you didn't believe in me breakout moment for Emmanuel Quickly. I can see that.
Yeah. I'm with Jay. I think Quickly could have a breakout season and he would average 14 and a half points last season. I mean, he could break out and be 18, 19 points per game, you know what I mean, and really forcing the Knicks' hand like, yeah, you better pony up, pay me. I can see Quickly having a breakout season.
If he has a breakout season like that, somebody's minutes is coming down.
Got to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it might be everybody's X Factor guy.
Yeah, could be.
It could be the new acquisition. It could be the new acquisition. You know what I mean? Because he's gonna have to earn his way into whatever role he's gonna find himself in anyway.
I don't know, Tony. Remember what happened with Hart? Tibbs picked him up at the airport. He got 30 minutes in the first game.
IQ guy though. He did say that. He said he's an IQ guy. So maybe who knows? I don't know.
Everything with Tom Thibodeau is in his actions. I don't care what he says.
Thank you.
Right? When Cam Reddish came to the team, well, we already got our rotations. And we got our lineups, and you want to boom, boom, nothing. Josh Hart, bam.
He got a green light. He had a green light
right there. Boom.
We had 14 people injured. Josh Hart still ain't playing.
Minutes came down.
And Grimes, as soon as Grimes was back from injury, put him right in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
True.
Yep.
No, he didn't. He didn't put him. He went with Josh Hart, and then Josh.
Oh
Hart
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then he put Grimes back in the starting lineup.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah. Because people were, that was one of the arguments. People in the playoffs were like, "Why has he still got Josh Hart out there?"
They were daring us to shoot when he was in that lineup. Miami was like, "Thank you" every time we shot.
No. I was referring to what Cam Reddish was starting.
Yeah.
Oh, in the beginning of the season. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Let me see. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steph.
For me, I'm gonna take a stab. I'm gonna say DiVincenzo. When I was reading the articles, because I'm not really familiar with him, I've seen him play a few times, but I think they had a crossover on one of the shows. So they had a content creator from Golden State. It might have been locked on Knicks. They did a crossover show. And then I was reading some articles, and a few people felt that injuries in his career kind of derailed him, and that he's not quite at his ceiling yet, that he may have a little bit more to show. We can't go by the preseason, right? He hasn't found his flow yet. But what if he What if the injuries were an issue his first few years in the league? And what if he puts it together this year? What if he shoots 40%? What if he does handle the ball? What if defensively he's all over the place like we've seen? And he's shooting and he's handling the ball. Yeah, that's if he has a breakout season, that changes things for us. And I'm with you, Sim. I really wanted Grimes to be able to handle the ball and kind of help Brunson this season. I kind of gave up on that after watching that game against Boston when there was so much opportunity for that to happen. So we'll see, because I do think we need ball handling on this team, and particularly in that starting in that starting lineup to help Brunson. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say DiVincenzo could have a breakout season.
Take that.
That'd be big, because if he has a breakout season, now you're looking at IQ. You know, at the end of the season, the Knicks can still extend him before he goes to free agency. He's in restricted free agency. If Dante has a breakout season, you know, now the Knicks can be like, you know.
Not only that,
could be.
Not only
Nah,
that, like
can't let
Dante's
him go for
contract.
nothing.
Dante's contract is so small.
Yeah.
If he ends up having a breakout season, then you have a situation where you have a Brunson situation, pretty much, where you have like a high producing guy who's being underpaid. So I mean, that'd be great for us because he's locked in for 5 years.
He's locked in.
Was it 5?
I think is it 5?
Is it 5 or 4?
He hits a little bit.
But Tony, I'm not saying that they would let quickly go for nothing, but now they just have more leverage to negotiate. Like, you know, we have guys, you know, like when your team has talent, I think you have more leverage to pay guys a little bit less. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you don't have as much talent, those guys are so much more important that you got, you know, now that the agent is like, you got to pay him or you're going to lose him, and you can't afford to lose this guy because you don't have the talent to replace him. You know, so yeah, I think that could have a lot of implications if Dante DiVincenzo is, you know, has a breakout season. You know
it's
4
4 years. My bad. 4 years.
4 years. Yeah. Lee, did you already say your breakout guy?
No, not yet.
No,
and y'all wanted it, so here it comes.
Oh.
Going left field. I'm gonna go with Dursan Rosas. You know, all right. So here's the good about Dursan. He's the highest placed Latino in the NBA front office. So he's like, you know, Leon's right hand man. As a Mexican American, that's super cool. He also follows me on LinkedIn for some reason and views my profile like once a month. I don't know how or why, but he does. Screenshots of players.
Tell him not to trade for Cat, please.
Here's the bad. He's kind of a bum ass. Like, he did a really bad job in Minnesota, in my opinion. I think he squandered a lot of deals. He was kicked out around the same time that Tibbs was for being kind of a dumbass and just like not very well liked in the front office, which Tibbs had that same reputation in Minnesota as well. And I don't really know if he's good at his job. There's not like a trade or a move that he's made in his entire NBA tenure that has his name on it, and you say, damn, that's a fleece. He doesn't have that. So to me, he's just like a fatter, shorter Steve Mills. Like, I'm not really interested in like in the hire. It's not splashy, but it seems that Leon Rose trusts him to negotiate. Because for some damn reason, he was a person on the phone with Danny Ainge in the Donovan Mitchell deal. Why the hell that happened, I got no idea. But it seems like he might be the point person when a big trade happens. It's going to be on Dursan Rosas' goofy little ass to pull that trigger and convince some other GM or some other president that it's the team to deal with that superstar or star. So, hey, my fingers are crossed. You know, La Raza all day. But, man, if he don't pull a star, fire his sorry ass up.
So you have him as an X factor, not breakout season.
No. He's breakout. I mean, he's been a bum for too long to be breakout.
Breakout trade, breakout Embiid trade.
X factor. I need him to pick up the phone and actually do a good deal. Otherwise, let's toss him out the door.
And he's probably said, who?
Wow.
I don't know, Lee. You must have said something on the show, and he heard you say something on the show. Let me
I
follow
have
this
no
guy.
idea. It's very strange.
Let me follow this guy.
Oh man.
Wow, I
Oh.
thought you was coming in with love too. It
Oh,
sounded
you
like
want to listen to Lee
love
before?
is on roast.
Who loves that guy?
Yeah,
Man.
I guess Leon.
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, he chose him over Scott. I guess so. I don't know how that whole thing went down, but
I
yeah,
miss
chose him over Scott.
I was
Play
Team
Scott. I
Scott.
don't understand it at all.
I like Scott.
Me too.
Yep.
Yeah.
His little inspirational Twitter messages. I love him.
I still see him every Monday, but we get to see him because he's an analyst, an in studio analyst
Yeah, he
now.
just got
Right?
hired.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the ESPN, right?
Oh, I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's
Say
up.
word.
Yeah.
You guys will never guess who my breakout player is, or who I think is going to have a breakout season.
Name a cheerleader.
Deuce?
It's going to be Deuce is going to break out the popcorn for the rest of the bench guys. I feel bad for Deuce, but it is what it is. Too many guards. Too many guards. RJ Barrett.
Oh,
Not only is he the X factor, but I've said it before, I'm a stand on it. RJ Barrett will have his best year as a New York Knick this year.
Let's get it.
It's going to happen.
Manifest
It's going
that.
to happen. And it's not hard to happen. If he could just shoot a couple percentage points better, I mean, but I really do think he's going to have a breakout season this year. I think his confidence level has been in question. I think he is a very pride and proud type of person. I think he's heard a lot of stuff. I think it was all fun and kiki in games when it was Julius under the microscope, but now that it's him, I think he doesn't like it. I think he went through a lot of turmoil last year in his personal life, and I think this year is get right. I think RJ is going to have a really good season for the New York Knicks.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I hope so, man. I'm here for it too. He look good in preseason. He looks good.
You know what I think might help that, Ron?
Mm.
Is, and I think we talked about it before, but I think he knows his role.
Right.
Right. I feel like last year maybe he was kind of, am I the second guy? Am I the third guy? Maybe trying to prove that he's the third guy. I feel like now, he probably knows, look, I'm the third guy. Right. So I'm just going to excel as the third guy. And I think when you accept something like that, now it's easier for you to play better. Right. Play more consistent, be more efficient, because you're not worried about trying to prove that you can do this or do that.
Right.
So I think maybe he's settled into it a little bit, which is going to hopefully help him have a good season or a breakout season.
Yeah.
Oh, go
ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, what is a breakout season for him?
Well, for me, I think
RJ.
that, I think for him, it doesn't see. That's the thing. That's the interesting, brilliant thing about RJ Barrett. He doesn't have to do a lot to have a breakout season. He can still score around 19, 20 points, 21 points. It could be somewhere in that area, right? But if he's just more efficient in his shot attempts, if he just plays a little better help defense. RJ's been in moments where he's lost out there on assignment. Like, we don't know where he is. He's out there in the ocean, just looking for, letting guys go backdoor cuts on him where he's, it's too much. RJ wants to, some of these guys just got to slow the game is fast. We know that, but you've been in the league for 4 or 5 years now. You know how fast the game is. Sometimes you got to slow down and say, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to be cognizant of. I don't need to worry about this other stuff. Okay. And you know what? One of my favorite words that I use for Grimes a lot, RJ's better at it, but still, even with RJ, I feel like he hasn't improved in the ancillary stats category. Other guys are swooping in. Other guys are swooping in, getting rebounds that RJ could be getting. RJ used to get those rebounds when these guys weren't here. So, it's just different things to help the team and get yourself involved in the game. And I say this all the time. I don't care who you are. I have not been proven wrong for the 46 years I've been on this earth. Me playing basketball with friends and going to tournaments. When a guy plays good, on offense, they start playing better on defense.
Yeah,
I've
there's no doubt.
always seen that. And I think that's going to be the same for RJ. Get the guy involved, within reason. He knows his role, to Sim's point. I think he understands his role. And I think that Thibodeau had something to do with that too. Because when you start getting benched in crunch time, it's a wake-up call. And you also start to see that, Julius balls out and Brunson is a killer. So you can't even question, oh, you benching me and letting Brunson go to work? No, Brunson's going to work. So
Right.
you gotta deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
one last thing before you move to someone else. I just had to say one thing because when you don't flesh stuff out, people don't understand what you're saying. Shout out to Saul Hashim. I know I mentioned turmoil with regards to RJ. It's tumultuous when you are the face, okay, of the Knicks. As much as Julius was the bigger star, better talent, RJ was the face of this Knick team. I don't know if he's still the face now that Brunson is here, but he came into that, and he's been here and it felt like he was in that role, and they were grooming him to be the next guy up. And he hasn't taken that step forward. He's been terribly inconsistent. And he went from watching people get on Julius Randle for everything he did to now those same people are getting on RJ. So it is tumultuous. Plus, like I said, he had something go on in his personal life. He's a young guy. You're dealing with real life situations. You just got the bag. And, money is nothing without someone you love to share it with. But anyway, that's besides the point. He's been going through a lot. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan, did you go?
Nah, I
I don't
didn't
think
go
Ryan
yet.
went, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough because, people have already said my answers. Like, I could go to Lee route and just be like, yeah, my breakout player this season is going to be Fournier and just start ripping on Fournier. But I can easily say like some BS and be like, yeah, McBride, because Knicks are going to trade IQ at the trade deadline. And then all of a sudden, McBride steps in and all of a sudden he shows his worth. But nah, I'm gonna go out on a limb right now. If I'm wrong, y'all can come at me on Twitter or wherever else y'all can find me. Julius Randle's gonna have a breakout season this year, but not in the regular season, because you know what you're gonna get from Julius Randle in the regular season. He's gonna have a breakout year this year in the playoffs and actually show up.
There we go.
And actually be the All NBA player that he is in the regular season in the playoffs.
Let's do it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Before that.
Yeah, that changes everything for the Knicks if that happens.
It does. It changes everything.
Really
Everything. If RJ has a breakout season and Julius Randle breaks out in the playoffs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
CF? I don't know.
that's I don't even want to mention any initials, and any conference initials or nothing, because I don't want to jinx it.
Right.
I mean, we're in the Eastern Conference.
The chat is hilarious, man. Vaughn Allen's like, see you on Twitter.
Right.
That's Ryan GKOT.
Yo, I'll take the smoke. I'll take the smoke if I'm wrong. I'll take the smoke.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I was just focused on the regular season, but I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But Sim, you asked what would a breakout season for RJ look like. I don't know if it has to be 20 points. If it's 20 points, it's 20 points. I don't know if it has to be that. If RJ is efficient and he's averaging 18 points a game, we getting 6 rebounds, we getting some fantasy stats. Give me a steal. Give me a
8 free throw attempts a night.
8 free throw attempts that you're hitting at close to 80%, which he did, in the preseason. That's a breakout. And listen, cut them threes down. Don't go 1 for 9. How about 1 for 5? How about 2 for 6? Something like that. That would be a breakout season for RJ Barrett. And the last thing to piggyback off what you said, Sim, I do think last season he was trying to find his way with Randle and Brunson because he just didn't look right. Not just the efficiency, just in the offense itself, looked like he couldn't find his space. And he would just be like, you know what? Let me run it back to the free throw, to the half court line, and just take it straight to the basket.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? what are you doing? It's like you resetting the play, you resetting the defense. We 10 seconds left. Like, what are you doing? So he was trying to find himself. I agree with you. I think he's found himself mentally. He knows where his place is. And I think once he did that, his game opened up, his floor game, his decision making opened up. So yeah, I think he's gonna be good this season. And if he's not, he gonna hear about it from me. But I do think he's gonna be good this season.
He's gonna hear about it from everybody.
And you guys know, I already said before, if RJ doesn't have that type of season, I don't think RJ is going to be a Knick after this season.
Oh wow.
They got to go. I think that's what a lot of people. I think it's show or move right now. This is a couple of years, and with the same core kinda that nobody is safe. You see, Tibbs didn't even get an extension because I think everybody is show or prove right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, to Lee's point, I think the Knicks are just ready to make moves. They're trying to get busy now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're running out of time. They're running out of time.
Yeah.
They got to pay Brunson in a couple of years. We can't keep kicking the can down the road when it comes to these picks. We got a lot of picks coming up at the end of this season, so it's going to be time to make a move. It's going to be next year. The absolute worst case scenario is the year after that. After that, we are what we are, so we got to make a move.
Yeah. Ron, you are the master of moving us on to the next subject.
I don't even be
master.
trying. It's just natural. I don't know.
I think you're looking at the list.
I think so.
No, I swear I'm
It's
not.
so
I swear I'm
smooth. It's
not.
so smooth, though.
Yeah. Will the Knicks make any moves by the trade deadline? I guess, Ron, you brought us here.
All right. I mean, listen. Yeah. All right.
Bada big.
No, I this is the first year that I actually do think the Knicks are going to be a buyer at the trade deadline, like a legitimate buyer. I think the writing's on the wall for them to try to make a move to take this team up a notch. I don't know if it's like the question. We never know if they're going to make the move that's going to make us a playoff contender and a championship team. But I think they're ready to make a move to enhance and bring in some type of star power, because it's the one thing that outside of us getting Jalen Brunson, we have not been able to do it. When's the last time the Knicks were been able to make a trade for star power? Carmelo Anthony? So I just think that they're ready. I think they sense something. The Brunson signing was one of the best things they could have ever done, and they are, trying to capitalize on this window that we got. And I think that this time around they're going to actually make the move. And so to the point before, because this goes back to something we said initially when we started the show, the whole thing about, and I saw people in the chat being concerned, like, if we go make a trade for somebody like an Embiid and we give up all these pieces, like, what are we going to do after that? Well, we don't know, because we haven't been in this situation before. So, with this new front office, for the past couple of years, I think sometimes maybe they've been looking for a reset too. It's not easy for them to do. But if you bring in a star player like an Embiid or whoever, Donovan Mitchell, whoever they can bring in, that makes sense. You're gonna move some pieces off the board. Then you can start making the roster to the likes of the talent you already have here. Because people keep saying our roster is disjointed. Yeah. You know what I mean? It hasn't been necessarily put together well. So this is their reset. This is gonna be two birds with one stone. Get the star player in here and be able to tweak the roster and make it a little bit more formidable for the talent you got. So. That's my thought.
I'm gonna go next because I know a lot of you guys aren't gonna like it, especially you, Jay Ellis.
Hold on. Let me consider.
Hey,
hold on.
It was my bold prediction, and it's not that I want it to happen, because I do not, but I do think Karl Anthony Towns is on the table. I think he's the guy that's most likely, if they make a move this year, I think it is for Karl Anthony Towns. Number one, his contract extension doesn't kick in yet, so you get him at a cheaper price as far as the money. the ties with Tibbs, the ties with Leon Rose, the ties with Ryan G, who's the guy you talked about as your X Factor, who came from Minnesota as well, in the front
Rosas.
office.
Process.
Oh,
You know what I
Rosas
mean?
in league,
Like
yeah.
That was Lee.
there's
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, Lee. There's
Yeah.
Lee, my bad. There's so many different ties that I just feel like even the guys that we want, Embiid just signed his extension. That puts him 3 years away from
He signed an
doing any.
extension today.
Yeah, 186, 3 years.
Giannis and Embiid.
No, not Embiid.
Who?
I'm sorry,
Who?
Giannis. I'm sorry, but Embiid, unlikely being
Right.
within the division.
Right.
So
Right.
when we talk about the next guy on the table, who is it possibly? Donovan Mitchell is a year away, so that's not happening this year.
Zach LaVine,
So-
maybe, for those who like Zach LaVine.
True.
Yeah,
That-
Zach LaVine
and-
don't like
and-
us though.
And he would
But
be
he's part of Clutch, right?
exactly. He would be a preference of mine. I'd rather him than Cat. So I'm not saying this is what I want, but I feel like there's so much writing on the wall, and that's the easiest guy to make that opportunity happen. I don't even think it costs one of our main rotational guys, because I think what they really gonna want is the draft capital to make up for what they lost in Gobert. So I feel like at 36 million, we could get that number easily matched, and then it'll be draft capital. And again, I do not want this to happen, but I just feel like the other guys that we all want or would preference is least likely to happen
At
So-
the deadline.
at the deadline.
I'll
I-
say this.
Okay, go ahead.
The only thing I'll say is I think it's going to take more than draft capital. I think because I feel like they might be a bit past a rebuilding team with Ant. They just start Jalen or Jaden McDaniels,
Yeah.
Jalen, Gobert. They may feel like this is not a rebuild where all we want is draft capital. We're building something here. We have a few pieces. I think they may want a few players as well.
I think they're gonna want cap relief because they're about to pay Jalen the McDaniels. They're gonna have to pay Edwards soon. Gobert's contract is humongous. So even removing Cat from the situation, their cap flexibility is nowhere near. So they're gonna want some players, but I don't think it's gonna be a high dollar amount player. I think they
The
want to.
rookies, those on the rookie contract.
Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna be more looking for.
I don't know. I'm Ian Begley. I'm going by my man Ian. This is what Ian Begley said. He said if the Knicks wanted to, they could have done it. The Knicks wanted to, they could have done it. And he also said
I believe that too.
that there is the front office is not unified in the idea of bringing Cat on to the New York Knicks. And I don't know. I have a feeling that Tibbs is part of that front office is not unified because come on, Cat's defense is is not it. Not it. Tibbs is a defensive guy. Doesn't have a lot of hair. Whatever hair he has left is gone if you sign Cat. All right.
And then got the Charlie Brown going on.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I'll say to that, Jay Ellis, is your perimeter defenders better be on point. Like you're gonna really have to shape the team differently.
You're gonna have Jalen Brunson be your main guy and have Cat backing him up. Like it does not compute to me.
Yeah.
Ebony, I already know Ebony is fuming. I know you want to say because I see her trash a Cat every day on Twitter. I already know.
Yeah, cat's not for me. Kitty Cat, call him. Yeah, I seen my guy Mitch demolish him real quick, easy work. And that be a 5 all the time. Oh no.
Well, I think you would have to have another 5 so that sometimes you can move him to 4.
Yeah, you can't put it, but you can't have him at the 5. That's a recipe for disaster.
Like they did in Timberwolves when they brought Gobert.
When they had to give up everything their mama did them too, right?
He doesn't even
Is that
want to
working
play
out
the
for
five.
them?
Yeah, he doesn't want to be the
Hey,
five.
I always
play
say
five.
this team's full of dogs. We don't need a cat, but again, I don't want it. I don't want him, but I just feel like it's out there.
especially if we're talking about by the trade deadline.
Not happening by trade deadline.
Could
There's
I-
no
could I-
big trades happening by trade deadline. It's gonna be in the summer.
Oh, we'll see.
I
We'll
mean, y'all
see.
asked the question. We just trying to answer the question.
Right.
I am going.
I don't know. They may surprise you. I have a feeling. But look, let me just say this. Okay, I'm not this guy. All right, because I don't want Cat here. But I'm just gonna say one thing. There's a lot of players out there that I've heard being mentioned in reference to the Knicks. You know, guys that you're like, why would I want this guy on my team? What does he bring? I mean, I don't care. He's a good player, but why would I want this guy on my team? People have said they want Kevin Porter Jr. People have said they want Miles Bridges. Like, if you want these type of guys, Cat is, really a model citizen who puts up really good numbers, has a fantastic shooting percentage. He is incredible.
Too.
Yes, and he's an incredible shooter for a big man in this league. One of the best shooters.
He can shoot.
I didn't even know he was that good, but he really is that good. He's one of the best shooters as a big in this league. Yes, his defense is suspect, but his defensive rating was last year was 109. Julius Randle's defensive rating was 110. That's very similar. So it might not be as crazy as you think. I don't want Cat for different reasons because I don't know if his heart is in it, and I don't like a player who is so talented but refuses to play a position. But that being said, I'm just saying it might not be horrible. That's all I would say.
Yeah, I think you can make anything work depending on what you put around them.
Right.
That's the thing. You would have to craft this roster. You got Brunson at 1 and Cat at 5. The rest of this roster, you got to craft
They
it.
got to be able to.
I can't.
Oh yeah, you got to make some.
They
moves.
got to be able to defend.
You got to make some moves.
And Ron, I would ask, what was Minnesota's defensive rating last year?
That's a good question.
Right, because if their defensive rating was 105 and his was 110, because I think the Knicks' defensive rating was around 110, maybe, or something like that last year.
And I will say this, and he's not the Joker. Denver got away with the Joker at 5 and Jamal Murray at 1 because of who they put around. So all I'm saying is it's possible. I'm not saying Cat is the Joker, but I'm just saying depending on who you put around him, it's possible.
Cat's playmaking is not Joker's. Lee, I don't know. Lee wanted to say something.
That's on offense, though. But what I'm saying is defensively, they were able to get away with those guys at the 1 and the 5.
Right.
Yeah, I think that big trades are going to happen before the deadline. I think the superstar trade will be this summer, but I do think there will be a star level trade that happens at the deadline because Leon has been negotiations like this past offseason, the trade deadline before for Zach LaVine, and then before that there was negotiations with Donovan Mitchell. He's hungry, and I think a player at that level, maybe a Pascal Siakam or returning a conversation about OG or Jeremiah Grant in Portland. Those guys, I think, maybe even Zion or Brandon Ingram, depending on how New Orleans goes, could be available. I think a guy like that could be sought after if they become available at the deadline. And if they do, take it. Because I think Leon's hungry.
I agree.
This is a time those pits are at the point where they might start to convey. So you got to start using them, especially that Maverick one.
Right.
Now's the time to package them. And I think if you can get an OG or especially a Jeremiah Grant, someone who can start and play lockdown defense and give you 15, 18 a game, man, Pova trader.
The only thing about Grant is that 160, though. But I agree with you. And he can play multiple positions. I would love the Knicks to have somebody who could defend 3s and 4s.
Yep.
He's not a great rebounder, though. So your rebounding has to be on point. He's averaging like 5 rebounds a game, if that.
He's not an elite 3-level scorer, but he's a 3-level scorer. And he can give you some, he can mix it up on a 3-point line and inside the post. He can post up. I mean, he can drive. He's got a decent handle. I would love to have a big wing on the perimeter to help with Jalen.
Yeah, and the thing is with him too, because we talked about him a lot. Like his contract isn't that bad. It's the length. You know what I mean? He's making
years.
It's the years. Like he's making what? At this highest point, he's making 36, and that's in 2027. You know, so it's because there's a lot of years in this contract. My problem with Cat is, like, he's $60 million. Is he a first option? You paying a third, second option?
$60 million.
$60 million a year?
And,
No.
and
A
I
wide
like
Mm.
I like Julius.
But Julius is going to be max too.
Yeah. Well,
Julius is going to be max in 2 years. The only thing I'll add about Cat, and I'm not banging the door for Cat either. Just because somebody plays one way on one team, environments
That's true.
matter.
Right.
Environments matter. We've seen players switch teams and take their game up another level. And he's not a slouch, 2-time All NBA. So let's not act like we playing, for like somebody that's never been to the playoffs, who's never made an All-Star team, never made an All NBA team. But I get it though. I get it. I'm not banging the table for him.
I would like to rebuttal that a little bit. That Cat is only a one-time All NBA.
Oh, one time. Okay, one time.
He's
Okay.
never taken a team to the playoffs as a first option. When he did with Jimmy Butler, was the best player on that T-Wolves team, not Cat. And we've seen him under Tibbs. We saw the friction that happened between.
But
Tibbs
he was
and
young
Tibbs
then, though.
fans. But I mean, I don't know if he's gotten any more mature since.
I
that
think
point.
so. If you heard what he said when they was asking him about Tibbs, he definitely seems more mature. But listen, I'm not saying you're wrong about his playoff performances, but we got that on our team too. There's some other guy. How has Embiid? Everybody wants Embiid. How has Embiid performed in the playoffs?
At least Embiid can take the team to the playoffs.
Right, but
Yeah, I don't want
there's levels to it though. So he's gotten them to the playoffs, but he hasn't gotten them out the second round. And in game sevens, Embiid hasn't played well either. So there's levels. There's
True.
levels.
Right. But I just like, at least the Embiid, he plays defense for you. And like, even though he's not the shooter Cat is, he's no slouch either. He can carry the offense for you. So I feel like from a team perspective, when it comes to like roster construction and balance, like you need defenders to go behind Brunson. And I feel like Embiid can be the defender behind Brunson. And even though he's not a 3-point threat to the level of Cat, you can still drop 30 on your head. I mean,
Hey, Alex, you're not going to get an argument out of me of Embiid over Cat. That's not what I'm saying. You ain't getting that argument out of me. I'm just saying Embiid also has something to prove in the playoffs as well. That's all I'm saying.
How old is
and-
that? man?
And for me, I don't think I think they're leaving that, like you said, Bagley said they could have had Cat already if they wanted him. I believe that to be true. I
He's
think
27.
They holding it in. They holding it in his back pocket. You know what I mean? Like they monitoring Embiid. They were monitoring Giannis. So I think it's almost like a fallback, worst case scenario option if other guys are off the table. But again, I'm not calling for it. I don't want it either. That money is crazy.
Yeah, I think there is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be the superstar like the Joel Embiid type, but I agree with Lee. I think there's going to be, a significant trade at the deadline for the Knicks, because I do feel like for this front office, maybe there's a little bit of pressure now. Like, all right, okay, you signed Brunson, but you haven't been able to make a move that really. You haven't been able to make one of these big moves. You was in the running for Donovan Mitchell. That didn't happen. We recently found out that they did talk to Portland about Drew Holiday. That didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? He ended up going to Boston. So there might be a little bit of pressure on him. Like, all right, what are you going to do? I don't know. I don't know what James Dolan's saying to him. Who knows? I don't know. But, might be a little pressure. Like, all right, do something. Make something happen.
There will only be pressure if we lose. That's like,
That's
if
true.
we underperform, then the pressure
Which
will ratchet up.
could happen. Which that's one of them Daniel Jones types thing. I'm sorry, I'm a Giant fan, so I understand when different things make a player look bad. Because the Knicks schedule could really make it tough for the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks could go out there and play similar basketball than like they played last year, but it's just not as effective with playing this type of rough schedule, especially out the gate. It's gonna be tough. But I just wanted to say to Sim's question he asked before, defensive rating for Minnesota was 113.1, and the Knicks were 114.
Okay.
So right there, very similar.
Right there.
And also, I do know that Cat and Tibbs were not necessarily clicking, but Cat had one of his best seasons in the NBA under Tom Thibodeau.
Right.
Yep.
How many did he rebound better under Thibodeau?
Hold on. Got to pull that up. But you guys can continue. Sorry.
I wanted to say what does underachieving look like for the Knicks? Because I think a lot of fans think that if the Knicks don't make the Eastern Conference Finals, that's a step back. But not realizing that Boston and Milwaukee are ahead of us. So if the Knicks lose in the second round to one of those teams, I don't really see that as a step back.
Yeah, to me, it's to your point. It's all about matchups. We may
Yeah.
get a bad matchup in the first round. I'm putting that in consideration. If we don't get out the first round, but because we matched up with, let's say it's Boston or Milwaukee somehow. You know what I mean? Whatever the case. So to me, that all the context is important.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If we matched up with them in the first round, that means
Lower in the seed. Yeah.
either we're lower in seed or they didn't perform where we thought they would have performed, right? Because if they're 1 and 2, that means we got it. That means we played in,
Yeah.
right?
So that would be
that means we
underperforming.
played in if they're 1 and 2.
But it could be 3-6. You know what I mean? It could be
it
4-5.
It could be 3-6 if one of those teams didn't perform as well. Then yeah, it could be 3-6. Nah, I agree though. I think, in my opinion, we didn't get to that. We didn't get to that playoff part yet. But if they match up with anybody besides, like in the first round, if they're a 4 or 5 matchup, then I guess you could understand. I don't know. I feel like if they're not matched up with Milwaukee or Boston in the first round, I want them to be making it to the second round. You know what I mean? And have to face one of those two teams in the second round. I'd be disappointed. But I do understand. It's bumps in the road on the way up. It's bumps in the road. I guess you'd have to look at how did they lose? Was it,
Even unfavorable matchups. I mean, I know most people were super upset with a loss to Atlanta in that first round, but you and I thought that was just a bad matchup going into the series.
We did.
You
that
know
was
what I
a tough
mean?
matchup.
We didn't have Mitch. Right,
We
Ebony?
didn't have Mitch.
Nope.
We didn't have
We
Mitch.
ain't have Mitch.
Exactly.
That is
We didn't have Mitch.
Wow.
tell us stuff
Pitch for most of the season either.
Exactly.
And that's not why we lost, because of defense.
This
Yeah,
is
we
interesting.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say to what you asked before, Steph, this is very interesting. It kind of points towards Tom Thibodeau's system that he likes to run, right? You asked about Cat's rebounding, and we can move on, but I'm just, being that I looked it up. Without Tom Thibodeau, he's had seasons where he had 10.5 rebounds, 10.8, 10.6. And the last 2 years, it was 9.8 and 8.1. In the 3 years under Tom Thibodeau, he averaged 12.3 rebounds, 12.4 rebounds, 12.3 rebounds, 25 points per game, 21 points per game, 24 points per game. He's had his best seasons overall under Tom Thibodeau.
Environments matter. And I think his blocks were up as well. But I think he was playing the 5 then, so he may have been.
I was about to say that.
True.
I was about to say that.
But that's system, Tom Thibodeau's system.
Yeah. Shout out to Hashim. Thank you for the super chat. He said, this is great. MBK and KOT. Tier 1 panel collabo. No doubt about it. And we hope to do more of them.
Yes, sir. For sure.
Do more of them. How many wins? How many wins will the Knicks get this season?
I'm a homer. Like they say in the Twitter streets, I guess. Because I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say 50 plus. I'm gonna give it 50. I'm gonna not go too homer. I say we could get 50.
Lee, fry up the burgers. What you got?
Bro, last year I had a 50 burger. This year I'm gonna circle back. 53 wins, third seed in the East.
Okay.
53.
Burger.
East Blue Drew said
Let's
55.
go.
I guess I'm going to be the more reasonable one.
Dang, that's a shot. That's a shot.
I'm gonna say 49 wins.
Oh, come on.
You priced it right. You did a Price is Right move.
Right.
No, I thought he was going to say something lower than 49. You can't start out that way and say 49.
Yeah, 49, right. I mean, because I'm at 50. I think the Knicks get like 50. What did they have last year? 47?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, 47. They started off the season below 500, right?
It's
Like
racked off 9 in a row.
37.
Yeah, I'm with Jarrell. 47 to 52. That's what I've been saying. 47 to 52. And I do think they could finish third in the Eastern Conference. I'll say 3 through 5, but I think they can do 3.
I'm with you guys, man. Philly he's looking chump. They looking real chump with James Harden throwing hissy fits out there. The Heat lost half of their depth because they were trying to hunt for Damian Lillard, so they looking kind of weak and feeble. So I'm saying the Knicks is gonna do 47 to 52 as well. And if we do the same as we did last year, we hit that 47. If an X factor hits, whether it be IQ, whether it be RJ, whether it be Grimes, and we have a lot of youth, so it's a lot of X factors, then we hitting that 52. And I think one of them is gonna hit. So let's go.
Right. And the reason for the 47, I wouldn't be too shocked because the East has gotten better. Orlando got all those bottom feeding teams that we was, feeding off. They've gotten better. Indiana's back in the mix. And then I think we beat Boston 3-1 last year.
Sure did.
Yeah.
KP's needs his paper mache.
Yeah.
And Miami.
And Miami 3-1. So I think it's gonna be a tougher Eastern Conference.
Mm.
We built for it though, but I still think it's gonna be tough.
Drip Moore says 58 wins. And we're going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a finals run if we get 58 wins.
Yeah, you might as well.
Don't
You
stop
might
that
as well.
conference finals.
Might as
right?
well. Almighty Finesse, 61 and 21.
Yeah, he said, oh, you talking about the Knicks record? My bad. Hold on.
That's a homer, Ebony. That's a homer. Right?
He got me beat.
61 and 21.
Well, you know what I'm gonna say that's why I was kept pointing to Lee. Lee said 53 wins, and before I saw the Knicks schedule, I also said 53 wins. But now that I've seen this Knicks schedule and knowing how tough it's gonna be, and they're gonna have it's gonna be a rough road. That's preposterous to me that they can win 53. So I'm gonna adjust it and say 52 wins. Let's go.
More reasonable, like Ryan G.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, he should have put 62 and 21 because we win the in-season tournament. That's an extra game too. So
Yeah. And Smokey J got us winning the chip.
Wow.
Wow.
All right.
Let's go, y'all.
I like the energy.
Got us winning the chip.
This is the most optimistic I've ever seen Knicks fans in my entire since the 90s when we was winning the chip every year.
Hey,
Right.
check back if we lose to Boston. I knew this team was
I'm telling you.
it's gonna switch on a dime. I'm telling
you
you.
right.
Have us in the play-in after that.
You're right.
yeah.
Trade everybody.
Yeah.
I can see it.
All right, so we got an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. We got a championship. Steph, what's up? What's your playoff prediction? Where are we going?
I think the Knicks lose in the second round again. I just don't think. I don't think we can beat Boston or unless somebody knocks out of Boston or Milwaukee before us. I think the Knicks bow out in the second round in 6 games. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
I think it depends on seeding.
Going to the finals. I know y'all got us going to the finals.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Steph, but I feel like it's going to be. I feel like we're still going to take a step forward. I think it's going to be a game 7 against one of those two teams think it's going to be a game 7. We're losing game 7 at their place, but now we're looking forward to next year. Like, okay, now we're ready to take a step. Can we knock one of those teams off?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what
I ain't scared of Boston, so I'm going Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks Bucks.
Let's go.
Woo.
Okay.
Woo,
Okay.
okay. We're going to find out tomorrow night if you still scared of Boston or not.
Man, how likely is it that KP is healthy past 60 games this season
Yeah, you're
and then
right.
healthy in the playoffs?
You're right. You're right.
That's what I was thinking too.
And if he's healthy, is he strong enough to deal with Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle
I think he is.
down low?
Nah, I ain't going to shortchange KP. He's looking bigger. Although no, I will say he looked bigger last year, but in this preseason he kind of looked like he lost a little weight. Maybe I'm bugging.
I noticed.
But he looked a little smaller. But
Slim.
I think last year's KP could hang. I don't know about what we're going to see with this guy right now.
But the thing about it is, he hangs out on that 3-point line. Mitchell Robinson is so concerned about protecting the paint, he's going to give up those threes.
Yeah. I think we're going to switch the scheme, though. Like, I don't think we showed the whole scheme in preseason.
Okay.
I think we're going to switch the scheme by the time game 1 hits, where we're not just going to let KP pop out there for 3 all game.
Okay.
That's my. That's what I
hope
think.
you're right. I hope you're right.
I'll jump in because everybody is quiet. I'm going to say, I think Tony has it backwards, but I can understand why he feels that way. A lot of people do. I don't think Milwaukee is the team to beat. I think Boston is the team to beat. So I see the Knicks actually surprising people once again, because every year we hear about how teams got better and the Knicks are always fighting and surprising. So I think they're going to surprise again this year, and we're going to get past the second round for the first time in however many years. We're going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, where we will lose to the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
I mean, that'd be a great season. I'll take it. That'd be a great season. That'd be a great season.
Exactly.
And it would answer. All right, let me just as a follow-up to that, right? And I'll mention this first because I thought it was funny. Darrell said if we win the chip, everybody had to break out and everybody is the X factor. Right. But if we get to the Eastern Conference, let's say we get to the Eastern Conference Finals as constructed, are we still clamoring to make a big trade? Or let's say we make a, like Lee said, we make a small trade, or not a small trade, but a significant trade, not a superstar, make a significant trade. We get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Are we still clamoring for that superstar?
Yes.
No.
Did Randall play? How did Randall play? Did he play like all NBA regular season Randall? Then no, we not clamoring for a superstar. If he does,
I think we have the superstar. I'm telling you, I think we got that superstar.
But I think we need more than one, though.
I think we need 2. I think that's the thing.
We have one.
Yeah,
we need 2. If Randall plays like a superstar, I agree. If Randall plays like a superstar, because he has all the physical attributes to be one. It's all about the real mental with him. This is the first year where he said he sat down and he actually watched film. I don't know what that's going to do for his game. To me, it's obvious you should be watching film, but this is his first time watching film. So I want to see what that's like for a whole season.
Yeah, all he's going to do is say, damn, I was bad on defense. You right.
Dang, I should have got that ball out a little quicker, that double team.
Yeah. But that's what we need. That's like the thing. We need him to move the ball quicker. That was the problem in Miami. He was shooting, he's supposed to pass, passing, he's supposed to shoot, trying to take Bam off the dribble 1-on-1. He needs to be sharper in those areas. If film takes to his head and he takes that leap mentally, then we're in good shape. We wouldn't be talking about trading Randall. We'd be talking about building around him and Brunson and getting final pieces.
Somebody in the chat made a good point, though. Did we get to the finals based on chemistry like Atlanta did a few years ago and Miami this season? Or did we get to the finals because, like we talked about, Randall showed that he's ready for prime time? Because if it's just based on chemistry, then yeah, we're gonna still need to make changes. Like don't buy into it. But if Randall balled out, then yeah, I think we're good, and we can strengthen the other
I
areas.
think both things are true, but to give a little bit of pushback, look at Denver, right? And look at like their chemistry and how long they've been together and how they have to get over a hump and get over a hump. So to me, that's feasible, especially if you know what I mean, if we take a step this year. I'm not opposed to continuing to watch the growth. You know what I mean? Maybe
grew with a superstar though.
I mean, I'm saying I'm agreeing with you though. I'm saying Randall does become all NBA Randall in the playoffs.
Got you.
You know, Brunson continues to be who he is.
Got you.
Then it's like, hey, let's maybe not put all our chips on the table. Maybe now it's about finding specific needs instead of just saying
getting older,
superstar
and more experienced. Yeah,
because that's best case scenario for us. Because in that case, we have all these picks. We have the players in place. We don't have to gut the team to make the next move. Right. It makes it a lot simpler if the guys who are being paid big bucks play up to that potential. It makes it so that, listen, like the new CBA is real. It makes it harder to go from good to great and to sustain that. So if we don't have to trade all our picks and get there, then we'll be in great shape.
But there are two recent playoff success stories that end up flopping the following season because they didn't make any moves in the offseason. When the Atlanta Hawks went to the East Conference Finals and the Dallas Mavericks went to the West Conference Finals, they stayed pat in terms of making improvements, and they ended up losing some pieces, but neither of them went for a big swing. And now both of them are kind of in either purgatory or chaos in the Dallas Bums. Sense.
You're always looking to improve your team, even if you make it to the finals, you're always proving. But you're always looking to improve. But the level of improvement, though, if you feel like you got two superstars, then yeah, you want to improve your team. But maybe you're looking for an OG, maybe you're looking for an Ingram, maybe you're looking for that level as opposed to an Embiid. That being said, though, Boston was ready to put Jaylen Brown in a trade for KD. So, hey,
right? They ruthless over there, and Atlanta. I think they thought they were getting better. You know, when they picked Hunter over Herter, I think they thought that was a good, decision. To me, that changed their team a little bit. I mean, a lot actually, because Hunter is not. He's pretty injury prone, so he's not available as much as Herter is. And you see, Herter went over to Sacramento and helped them become a playoff team. Mm-hmm. So that's when I think sometimes you make moves that you shouldn't make. And I think we did that after the fourth seed with the Evan Fournier and making those type of moves, thinking it would help us. And it kind of, we trying to get rid of that move right now. So I don't know. I think if like you said, depending on how we win, it might be out of our. It might. Suppose somebody said, "Hey, it's consistent now. They're getting better. They went second round, now they're Eastern Conference, and they say, hey, I think I can help that person now. I think I can help this team rather than Knicks, and they come to us. What that would be something new. That's what I think. I think we need just consistency, and then somebody will come to us if we show consistency. Right. I'm not saying it's going to be Embiid type, but somebody.
The thing about it is we don't have any cap space, so whoever comes to us, it was going to have to be a trade.
Exactly.
Going to have to be a trade.
Yeah. And the Fournier, see, I'm not huge with the cap, but the Fournier is not going to take much off of our cap, is it?
No, we're going to still be over.
Yeah. No, we're still in the same spot.
Right. But I like our team.
I like him too for entertainment purposes and whatever. But when we talking about winning a chip, nah, I don't
Nice.
like him for that. Like we got to do something.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right.
All right.
Good show, guys.
Yeah, it was a great show, man.
Definitely.
Great show. I
Great
can't wait to do it again. We're gonna have to, maybe every quarter,
Yeah, do a little
hell
check-in.
Yeah.
and do a check-in without a doubt.
For sure.
I mean, because it was a really good show. I would like to just remind everybody. Well, tomorrow's the home opener.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow's the home opener, and if you're not going to the game, you can come join us at Legends tomorrow night from 6 to 11. We have a watch party. We'll be doing a live podcast. Yeah, come join us, ladies and gentlemen. And for those, if you're on NBK, there's a link in the description of the video. There's also a link tagged to the top of your YouTube chat. All right, but yeah, come join us.
Even if
dope.
you go into the game, stop by.
Yeah,
For pre-game and post-game. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm stepping. I'm tapping in, so I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna tap in and pop in.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Shit with you guys. Say hi to my mom's. Mom Luce is gonna be with me, and then we're gonna.
Hey,
That's what's
Love
up. Yeah.
And then we're gonna go to the actual game after that, and we chill with Knicks Family fan and my sisters over there. So yeah, hope to see y'all
that's gonna be
tomorrow.
dope. That's gonna be dope.
Let's go.
Yeah. I guess before we go, just real quick, does anyone have any thoughts or predictions about tomorrow night? I know it's late and it's been on 3 hours.
Right.
Napping.
I see Sidewalk TV being in there again for a W. You know what I'm saying?
It
Live
is.
W. That's what I see.
Mm.
Or maybe I'm manifesting whatever, but W for the
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with it. I feel like we're gonna get a W tomorrow night. I think the crowd is gonna be crazy. The Knicks are gonna be crazy. I look at it back a couple of years ago when we beat them in triple overtime. I think it was triple overtime opening night.
Yeah.
I feel like something like that again.
Evan not playing though. I
What,
don't know.
I was about to say, was Evan Fournier a part of that triple overtime?
He might have been. I don't know.
He was.
Was
Oh,
he?
he was.
That's
Oh,
right.
oh yeah, he's the reason why we won the game.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he was.
Yeah, I guess so.
Triple
Yeah, that's
overtime.
right. Yeah, it's crazy. I actually thought Evan Fournier could possibly make an all-star team with the Knicks under top.
I thought he was playing well too. I did, but I didn't realize how much of a cone he was. So,
That's because we had Elfin Payton next to him. Now we got Jalen Brunson. That's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That's it. The Knicks had a better defense when he started that season than they did
Yeah.
last season. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
that when you brought in Jalen Brunson, you couldn't hide him, and I
Yep.
think that changed everything.
exactly.
You can't play both
Yep.
of them. So
Can't.
you put a strong team around Fournier, he would be fine. Other
Yeah.
teams do it as well.
Yeah.
Are you
Man,
saying we
no
missed
doubt.
Alec Burks?
Yo, I liked Alec Burks, man.
I like Alec Burks too. Ron, you know the
That was my
stats about
guy.
Alec Burks.
I like Alec Burke. Tibbs made me dislike him.
Ron, you know the
Because he put
stats
him in the
about
point
Alec
guard.
Burks, man.
I think we all loved him, except we didn't want him at the point guard. That's
Exactly. That's it.
Exactly.
Actually, you know what? That's it. Tony
And that's why
said it.
Tibbs
That's
pissed me
what-
off that year. But I'm
That's
I'm
what
back
soured
now.
me on Alec Burks. It's Tibbs' fault.
Exactly.
When Tibbs
That's
said
it.
Alec Burks is our best possible chance at point guard, that's what messed it up for me. I liked Alec Burks up until that point. But
At
he
that
messed
time,
it
though,
up.
he
Yeah.
was. Quickly was just a second-year player.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the second half of the season,
I do
Quickly
think
was
he was,
turning
though.
on.
If
And
you're
he
trying to win, if you're trying to develop, it's Quickly. But if you're Tibbs and you're trying to win, I don't think it's Quickly.
I'm gonna have a whole nother podcast to talk about Alec Burks' bad defense.
You know,
But the numbers said that he was those defensive numbers. If you go look back at those defensive numbers, he was
Bad.
like, I forgot what they. No, they weren't.
No, there was Tibbs was like, go back. Second half of the season. I'm talking about when IQ was cooking. Tibbs said, I'm putting Alec Burks on these
There he
smaller
goes.
guards
Number one in
for defense, and he was getting cooked. I remember him trying to guard Trey Young, and he was getting barbecue chicken all night long. And
man.
IQ was guarding him way better, but he refused to do it because he had this idea in his head that tall guards can guard better. And he was getting cooked. And it was
I was so
pissing.
mad with
Jay Ellis, the issue
Those numbers,
is
though.
Alec Burks is a point guard on paper. He is not a real point. He's a shooting guard.
He's a shooting
You're telling me
guard.
he's our best option at point guard? A guy who can't even inbound the ball. We throwing the ball all over the.
Hey,
what does
we
Tibbs
still
do?
got that
Put
problem.
Alec over there.
And
Right.
then you took the ball out of his hand, so he wasn't even a bucket anymore. You remember Alec Burke was going off at the shooting guard position. He was
He
doing
was.
was.
No doubt about it. He
was.
was going off. He was our most clutch player at one point.
He was.
And then you put him at point guard, he just looked lost. He ain't know whether to shoot, he ain't know whether to pass. That baby was just like, whatever. I'm like, Tibbs, come on, help him. Help
And
us.
that's it, Ebony. That's the reason why I'm saying you're gonna tell me that's our best option at point guard. I don't know. man.
Listen, Randall was handling the ball last season anyway. So whoever was our
Yeah.
point guard was really de facto. Randall was
Right.
handling
No
the
doubt
ball.
about
That is
it.
true.
He
The
was
point-
just this person was just there to play defense, so we had the switchability. Randall was the point guard. That's
He
it.
was, he was the
Yeah, the
point
point
guard.
forward days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the point forward days.
If we ever trade for Embiid, bring back Alec Burks. All right.
I wouldn't mind having Alec Burks on his team now, but just not at point guard. Just not at point guard.
Great.
Not at
I'm
point guard.
scared
That's
to
shooting
give
guard.
him. I'm scared to give Tibbs Alec Burke again. That's it.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That's when everybody said you gotta take Tibbs' toys away. You gotta
Yep.
take away his toys.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, man, it's been a great show.
For sure.
It's been a great show. A lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
Excellent.
Jay,
Hit that like button on the way out, guys.
Yes. Yo, please hit that
the
like
like
button.
button.
Subscribe to the channel. We're gonna be doing some of these sporadic through the year. It's gonna be a great season.
Yeah.
Both channels. So hopefully y'all enjoy it, everybody. All right.
yeah, no doubt about it. Any last words anybody want to say before we get out of here?
Way past my bedtime. But it was,
Yeah, true that.
I appreciate Jay Ellis, Lee, Ryan G, Tony, Sam, Ebony, Ron. You already know what it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Are you twins?
All right.
Oh! I did have
Oh.
one thing to say to Sim. Shout out to A Train. No, it was A Train. A Train says show just went into double OT on Burks, but that wasn't it. It was, Craig. Shout out to my guy Craig. Craig said Booker got some crazy good stats tonight. He is killing. Yep, and he just killed me with those last 2 points. I lost my bet. So yeah, great.
man.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And I got Devin Booker in our league. I'm playing against E-Root tonight. I'm playing against Die Hard tonight. I got Devin Booker starting tonight.
Good for you.
Good for you.
All right. CAA client.
There we go.
Throw that out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you, and we're out of here. Peace.